Here it comes. We're live on air, and ich habe einen Livestream unter YouTube. Follow that link to go watch.
What?
I got a tweet.
What the fuck? Did you just have a stroke?
What?
Source material tweeted in German. And apparently
You had to fix that.
No, well, this time it went out twice, once in German and once in English. So
I think you should leave it.
I'm going to worldwide, baby. Source material.
Okay, leave it.
Germany, we love you. Welcome to Source material.
I am a hamburger.
I don't.
Germany. Some know more about you than others.
Did any of you guys take German?
No, but you're doing. But now this is reminding me of an Eddie Izzard bit where he was doing an impression of Kennedy. And he was like, "Ich bin ein Berliner," and he's like, "That means I am a donut." But because of the way he said it with such confidence, everyone cheered.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Source material. We're right here on the YouTube airwaves. If you're tuning in live, thank you very much. If not, that's okay. You could catch it on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network here next week sometime, around the 20th of March, I believe. Tonight, I am here to bring on... I hate intro. I hate them with passion.
I am smelling like a rose that
Sing
my
it.
mama gave me on my
Birthday deathbed. Buddy, I just heard that song a couple days. Well, wait, you stop after the first part. You don't continue it. It just gets old.
God.
Thanks, Melissa. Jesus Christ.
It has gotten rough in here, gentlemen.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right.
You're like my kids. I'm like, I can't dance, I can't sing, bunch of Nazis.
Sometimes you gotta cut a man off. You can't continue it. No, stop.
Hi, I'm Mark. Have we met?
That's true. That is the absolute truth. Mark, stop scheduling. No, okay. All right, and bleep, bleep, bling, bling. Oh, hey, my phone's going off again. All right, now listen. We gotta get serious here. We're talking serious business. We gotta get this podcast started. Mark Radulich is here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network on Source Material. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
I am doing very well, sir. I've got a belly full of pie, and I fit into my 42 size shorts. I'm very excited about all of this, but I got a bone to pick with you because this book that you made us read with your incessant, this joke doesn't work anymore. I'm now just realizing we fucked the joke before I could even get it started because you just made a whole thing about me being an overscheduler.
I did.
I then can't go into a rant about how it's your fault for overscheduling and making us read this terrible series of comics called Iron Fist: The Living Weapon by Kyle Andrews and a Partridge in a Pear Tree because it was really actually my fault, and I am sorry.
Well, just
apology accepted.
Yeah, let's accept your apology first, and then we'll talk about how wrong you were for the next 2 hours.
My wife just shut the door on me, but I wanted to tell her that's the way you say I'm sorry. Melissa, that's the way you say I'm sorry. I am sorry.
She's like, well, I'd like to hear that every once in a while here at the household, okay? Not on the podcasts.
No, she'd like me to stop yelling so she can go to sleep. You should move on now.
All right, we're moving on. Ronnie Adams of the Screaming Boy podcast. Welcome to my nightmare. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Did you just say her like Medea?
No. Yes.
Okay. You did?
No.
All right.
Don't judge me.
What is going on tonight? My gosh.
You made me read Iron Fist.
Okay. I just want I want to go ahead and because Mark Radulich will appreciate this. But my wife just sent me a text, okay? And
would it stop talking so loud?
No. This seriously, capital letters, 4 exclamation marks. Gay. Yes. My wife just sent me.
Wow.
Mindy, we love you.
She gives me such a hard time. She hears me down here doing the podcast while she's trying to go to sleep. And now, granted, there's about, I don't know, 6 inches of board in between us and the second floor, but she gets to hear everything, and she proceeds to let me know about it on Messenger. So anyway, let's talk comics like a couple, three adults will, and three non. All right, okay. So I made you.
Hang on.
Okay.
Speaking of comics,
Sure.
I actually have a related comic book story. It's 50 words or less, I promise.
Oh no, go ahead.
So we went to the Village Inn because my wife wanted something sweet for dessert, and I really can't. I shouldn't be eating ice cream anymore because of certain health issues going on with me. So I was like, can we not do ice cream? I would rather have pie. That would be less terrible for me than ice cream. And she was like, you know what? I can do that for you. So we went to the Village Inn because they have ice cream and pie there for, and everyone would be happy. And our waitress, gets to talking to us, and she says that she has a cat named Rorschach. And I was like, Rorschach as in the Watchmen, or you're a psychology student? And she was like, a little from column A, a little from column B.
Cool.
Yeah, so she actually knew who Rorschach was from The Watchmen. Then she told me about her other cat. I'm like, is his name the comedian? She was like, no, dork.
Oh.
She totally called you out.
She didn't. I put that part in there to make the story funnier. Move on.
That's good stuff. Okay.
Well, my world's crashing down around me now.
Ronnie, how many pets have you had?
Well,
in your life? In your life?
Three.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What can you give us some names of those pets? Do you remember them off the top of your head?
Logan, Nikki, and Tigger.
Tigger. Okay. All right.
Tigger.
Nothing as strange as Rorschach.
No.
I once named a cat Cabbage.
Awesome.
Yeah, and all based upon the myth that if you were getting ready to sneeze and you said the word cabbage, you wouldn't sneeze.
All right, so I love that your wife sent you a message that said "yay," but I don't understand the context. Like,
what do you mean?
I don't understand. I don't understand what's gay about what she did.
No, she's yelling gay at me because she overhears me talking.
Oh, it's separate from the above thing. Okay,
yes, it's totally separate.
Right. I was like, that's very mundane.
You're changing your address because you're moving? That's gay! Oh my gosh, what an intro today. I said I hated intros. I hate them even more now. My gosh.
I'm just trying to help you out, bud.
All right, let's get to it. We read Iron Fist, okay? Now we were scrambling because we wanted to find a good Iron Fist story. And admittedly, us three, I would assume, did not rattle off the top of our head, hey, I got a great story to read. Let's read Iron Fist, the Living Weapon.
No.
Exactly.
No, we did not.
We immediately were scrambling. And, of course, Mark, doing his due diligence, trying to find us a good book to talk about, we'll peel back the curtain a little bit and tell you where we get our inspiration. And that's from the internet and people who out there who read books and suggest books. So Mark, you found this one. Do you remember where we found this one? This was like rated? We were trying to find like some of the best Iron Fist stories, right?
Let me tell you how the sausage is made here on the Rattledge and Broadcasting Network. I go on Amazon.
Amazon sausage. Fry it up.
Type in superhero graphic novel. Okay, it's very scientific, and
yeah,
I look at the, how the books are rated, and this one's. I also agonize a lot of agony in the Rattledge and Broadcasting Network. I agonize over the right kind of material. I must have spent at least 2 hours trying to find, for a movie that isn't coming out until 2018, by the way, the right Aquaman book, because it has to have Black Manta in it, but it should have inspired the Aquaman movie in the DC cinematic universe. It should somehow be related to Jeff Johns, if not written by him directly, since he's the one overseeing it. He's the Kevin Feige of the DCEU. And it's like, okay, so I'm like, what book falls into that category? Well, it shouldn't be a volume 2 because then we're starting in the middle like George fucking Lucas. This is my brain, people.
This is
So, like,
it's a throwback to Casual Hero days with hashtag parameters. That's all Mark has to deal with. It's all parameters. It's got to fit into a box or it's got to be
God.
explained.
You know what's the irony of this is I was telling the girl that I was hanging out with today that isn't my wife and her kids and my kids. I don't want to make it seem weird.
Oh, this is getting weird.
Is that weird?
That's weird.
So I went on this date with this broad, and
Not weird.
no, not weird at all. And she's telling me about like her shitty dating life, and I was like, man, you're trying to take you and you Western girls and your linear direct control thinking. You got to be like me, man, more Eastern thinking. Let the waves crash over you and just go with the flow and see where it takes you. You don't got to have to control everything. Meanwhile, listen to
Back at the ranch.
Meanwhile, behind the computer, I'm struggling to come up with an Aquaman book because it doesn't meet the right parameters.
Oh, dude.
Well, I went through this same mental fucking algebra for Iron Fist, because I wanted a story that would be good, but that maybe influence the Netflix series since that's the whole impetus of this.
Yeah.
And I like I said, I just did some Google searching and I came upon The Living Weapon. It was a 12-issue arc, and I think was canceled, and rightly so. After 12 issues, it was part of the Marvel Now release. And I thought, hey, I think this is both modern. I think it fits the milieu. I think it's a good encapsulated Iron Fist story because I didn't want one where we would have to be sort of left in the middle of a story. And I was like, yeah, let's go with it. And Jesse was just like, okay, boss. So we did.
Do it. That's right.
And I like to once again say that after choosing this book and insisting that we read it and talk about it, I am sorry.
Well, okay. It's, well, we're giving it a hard time. And again, we're going to get into the issues here. I don't want to belabor going through this thing issue by issue. That's for sure, because we got 12 issues on stack. So what I plan to do, I'm going to give you guys a synopsis of the first 6. So our listeners out there, be ready, because when I start talking, it's going to be just a brief synopsis of the first 6 issues to give you the gist of, I think what was called, this thing was split into 2 parts. One was Rage, which I believe is, I think we got a prologue, and then the first 5 issues is Rage.
Very fitting.
Indeed, because you will get you will get mad. And then the second part is our, I guess, finale part. The second part is called Redemption. So
not fitting.
Redemption song.
We're going to, so I'm going to kind of break it down that way, and then these guys are going to kind of chime in here at the end, or after I do each synopsis, give us an idea of what they liked about some of those, the big parts that stood out to them in each one of those sections. So now let's talk about Iron Fist first off. We'll talk about, we don't know much about Iron Fist. We've already kind of covered that, but I mean, Ronnie Adams, when you think of Iron Fist, have you ever read anything in the past before we touched this book that involved him?
Just some like one-offs and team-ups and stuff like that. I've always kind of liked Iron Fist because he's more of a kind of a Batman character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's almost identical to Batman and Green Arrow. How his whole origin went down.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've always liked him because his powers were not too over the board or anything like that. And I guess you could say he's more of an every guy, like to steal a phrase from you, he's street level.
Oh yeah.
Even though he's more Eastern, I guess you could say, in his origin.
Okay. Anything that stood out to you, and you said you said you haven't read anything that really, you're just like, oh yeah, that one issue with so and so and him, or any crossovers where he stood out to you in any way. Nothing like that stuck out, right?
No, I've read some Heroes for Hire. I've read some team. He's had some team ups with with I guess Spider-Man and a few others, and nothing really crazy sticks out to me off the top of my head. I've just always he's kind of like Power Man for me. He's just he's pretty cool, but I never really got into his single issues or anything.
Okay. How about you, Mark? Iron Man. Jeez Louise. That's going to happen a lot. Iron Fist. Have you read anything, or same question? Anything stood out to you previous to us grabbing a hold of this book and looking at it?
When I read comics, what I read was related to the subject was Power Man and Iron Fist, or Heroes for Hire. Not a tremendous amount of memory about either. All I can say is I was familiar with the character, but it was not one that I did a lot of following of. Of the Heroes for Hire, take a drink, everybody, because this is one of the rules in the Rattledge and Broadcasting drinking game. The character that I was attracted to and that I wanted to read about was Luke Cage, Power Man, because #Black folks.
What?
It's trending.
Oh, God help us all.
What? Wait, why is Ronnie surprised by that? I've done that before.
That's true. I mean, I don't know.
At
You know
this
what?
point,
Leave me alone.
At this point, you shouldn't be surprised when I tell you that I tend to favor the Black culture and everything in my media.
I'm really not.
So that being said, I've like I said, if you give me a white ninja and a funky black guy with armored skin who beats people up with his fist, I'm going for the black guy. I'm not going for the ninja. A lot of my friends were into ninjas. I wasn't. So Iron Fist to me was, the other guy in Heroes for Hire. He's not a character I knew a tremendous amount about or really cared much for. As an adult and being a little bit more open to things, I'm fine with it. But in all honesty, the big thrill for me is that he's getting his own series on Netflix and he's part of the overall Netflix Defenders presentation. So I'm becoming interested because of that. Okay. As an aside, I liked the little bit that they gave him in the Spider-Man animated show that my son enjoys, where it's him, White Tiger, I think, a more updated version of Power Man and Nova.
All right. Well, as for myself, I am on the blank end of the spectrum. I have no idea about this character. I mean, I may have seen him in a couple stories, but to be honest, I do not even remember reading anything with him in it. It's not like this guy's totally brand new to me. I've known that he's existed. I don't remember him ever being a prominent part of any story that I've ever read. So getting the opportunity to do an Iron Fist story is a learning experience for me. So I looked forward to getting a hold of this graphic novel, or this set of issues, these 12 issues, and discussing them with you guys, because I knew I was going to be learning something about a character I've never read about before. Now, let me go ahead for our listeners. Iron Fist. Okay, I'm going to give you a brief description of who Iron Fist is, kind of give you an idea of his creators, where he first appeared at. Iron Fist, the alter ego of Daniel or Danny Rand. That's pretty much what you're going to hear me referring to him as tonight will be Danny most of the time, because that's almost the feel of this book really makes it personal for me. Instead of me saying, hey, here's Iron Fist doing this, this actually felt like a lot of stuff that the character Danny Rand was going through, not Iron Fist themselves. But anyway, the alter ego of Danny Rand. And he first appeared in Marvel Premiere number 15, May of 1974. Created by, and this is straight off of the wiki, Roy Thomas and Gil Kane. We've mentioned Roy Thomas on here before. I don't think we've read anything from him. I think we might be reading something from Roy Thomas at some point in the future, or at least that's been thrown out there. I think we were talking Thor Ragnarok at one point, although we may be going for the later iteration of Thor Ragnarok. But anyway, regardless, Roy Thomas at some point will be discussed on this podcast in length. I'm sure we'll get to some story with him in it. So let's talk about his power set. This was the strangest stuff at all. I mean, all I saw was this guy running around. He's got his bandana on and a glowing fist. Okay, I need to know more. So, of course, the Marvel Wiki's got us on lockdown here, and I'm going to read again straight from it. Plunging his fists into the molten heart of the dragon Shao Lao. By the way, pronunciation Nazis. Let's just go ahead.
There's going to be a lot of mumbling.
Yes, there's going to be so many mispronounced names tonight. Like, we're going to have a discussion at first of how we're even going to pronounce Kunlun, which I don't know if that's how you guys are pronouncing it or not. But either way, I don't care how you guys say it. Let's just get that out of the way. You guys say it how you want to say it.
I intend to pronounce it. I intend to be culturally sensitive and pronounce it as the Asians have told us you should pronounce these things. It will be called ham sandwich.
I don't think you're okay. Now,
you know what's funny about that? Not that I said that, because A, that's old hat with me. B,
ham sandwich.
Here's a shock. I'm purposefully racist on this show. What's hilarious is that in the chat that no one else can see, Ronnie makes the same joke and he goes, "It's a good thing I don't do this on the air." And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you asshole, I do it all the time.
No.
Fuck, what do you think?
I don't know what you're talking about. Come on, Radulich.
Oh, you're making stuff up now, Mark.
Jeez.
You can actually see Ronnie pulling on his collar right now.
Yeah. All right. Plunging his fist into the molten heart of the dragon Shao Lao. The Undying, most of my pronunciation came from Mortal Kombat. I shit you not. That's probably how I learned how to pronounce most of these words, was playing Mortal Kombat. Kung Lao, Shao Lao. All right, holy cow.
Shao Kahn?
Shao Kahn?
Sure.
Hey, dude, I'm telling you right now, Mortal Kombat is the basis for what I'm pronouncing things as. Kunlun, guaranteed I'm pulling that from Mortal Kombat somehow. Plunging his fists into the molten heart of the dragon Shao Lao, the Undying Shao Lao the Undying infused the dragon's superhuman energy into Rand. This, along with being trained by Lei Kung, the Thunderer. Yeah, you ready? Gave Rand the power of the Iron Fist, allowing him to summon and focus his chi. I'm going to call it chi. Focus his chi energy, also called natural energy or life force energy, to enhance his natural abilities to extraordinary levels. His strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, reflexes, and senses can all be greatly intensified. He is able to concentrate his own chi and the superhuman energy from Shao Lao's heart into his hand, hence the Iron Fist, with it manifesting as a supernatural glow around his hand and fist. So concentrated, this Iron Fist can strike with superhuman hardness and impact, while his hand becomes impervious to pain and injury. However, summoning the power required by this feat leaves Rand physically and mentally drained. I did not know this. Unable to repeat the act for a time, as long as an entire day in certain instances. Though after years of using the ability, it has become less draining. He can focus his chi inward to heal himself or outward to heal others of injury, as well to give himself psychic senses and to telepathically fuse his consciousness with another person. None of that. I can tell you the psychic and the telepathic crap does not happen in this book. All right.
But a lot more does.
Chi. Chia. So
I've never heard it pronounced otherwise, so I think you're safe on that.
Am I safe? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. All right. So there is your description of the power. Thank you very much, Wikipedia, for coming through and educating a non-educated person such as myself.
I will say this.
I said it here on source material. Non-educated.
I will say this. Wikipedia. We use you on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. We use you on Screaming Boy. We are looking for
what? Some endorsements?
Sponsors.
Endorsements. Sponsored by Wikipedia,
so
whether you like it or not.
Are you asking Wikipedia to sponsor our show, the same website that is constantly talking that they need sponsors?
Maybe.
Their masthead has gotten obnoxiously big that says, "Send us money."
It does, too.
That doesn't mean they don't have any.
We're just like, hey, sponsor us.
They just want more.
Well, how about we offer to sponsor them by using what they have on their website all the time and quoting them and say, thanks, Wikipedia. There you go.
Guys, I hate to be the one to tell you this because I'm talking about myself and it's my network, but I'm a gigantic asshole who doesn't hold back about insulting anyone and anything. No one's sponsoring us.
Okay. Damn. Well, we tried.
Well,
It may have been, well, apparently.
there's that.
Okay.
I mean, would sponsor us, Marvel Comics. Hey, your comics suck dick, all right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad.
The check's in the mail.
Hey, DC Comics, Warner Brothers. Nope. Cut them off the list.
He's got a point. He does have a point. All right. So we talked about why this book, the creators of this book, really there's only one person that's responsible for the art and also responsible for writing this story, Iron Fist, the living weapon. And that is, I have it listed as Hey, how'd you say it earlier, Mark?
Ham sandwich.
There you go. Ham Sandwich Andrews.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the same.
No.
Care Kyle Andrews.
Care Kyle. Okay. Care Kyle. So here we go. This guy wrote and he also drew this comic. All right.
Can we just start calling him Ham Sandwich Andrews? It sounds like a hobo.
Luckily,
hey, do y'all know where to get some good hooch around here? I don't know. You gotta ask Ham Sandwich Andrews.
Down on the corner.
Beats the hobo life. Stabbing folks with my hobo knife.
There you go. All right. So, okay. Now, what else?
And where do you get the idea that he drew this thing? He clearly had a seizure with paints on his lap.
Well, now hold on. I want to give this guy some credit when it comes to the art because there are some times where I'm like, okay, I definitely feel like the art is lacking, but he does some very interesting stuff.
There are some times.
He does some very interesting stuff. Watch me now. I think and I don't know if I'm using the term right here or not, but he does it with some negative space where it looks like, I mean, my guess is he ran out of time, but it still looks good. Okay. And that's a good criticism. I mean, it looks somewhat decent when later as we get towards the end of the issues, he seems to rely upon that a little bit more, but hey, I'm going to give Andrew some props. Go ahead.
I know you're trying to be positive, and I know that I'm not helping.
Nope.
But, and I'm sure you're regretting doing this with me now. But I swear to God, you sound like a parent at a parent-teacher conference making excuses for their child.
Oh.
It's not his fault. It's the reason why he tipped the desk over and peed on the kid's homework was because, things are not good at home right now. His dad works a lot.
Listen, this isn't piss artwork. It isn't piss artwork, okay? It's good stuff. And I know Mark Radulich is overblowing it here because he knows for a fact that on his best day, actually, I've never seen you if you've drawn anything before in your life, so I don't know.
Are you comparing the professional artist to me who can't whose handwriting looks like gang tags?
All right. There we go. I rest my case. No, listen. Compared to other stuff, I'll give you this. Okay, compared to other things that we've seen and what we've read here on source material, this is different. Okay, we'll give it that. I don't hate the art personally. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad, but it could have been better. How's that? I'll give you that. And when you're writing a story and drawing it at the same time,
you ain't giving me nothing.
You're going to have a time crunch on your hands. I assume these came out on schedule. But imagine trying to write a comic and draw it at the same time. Go ahead.
I have breaking news.
Uh-oh. Play the sound effect. Oh, we can't.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, that's our breaking news. Sad trombone. Wah, wah.
So Finn Jones, for those of you who don't know, is the guy that's playing White Iron Fist. Psst, he's always been white. Who's playing Whitewashed Iron Fist on Whitewashed Iron Fist next Netflix show. Finn Jones, I'm getting this from comicbook.com. Finn Jones says Donald Trump has something to do with Iron Fist poor reception.
Oh, no. Come
currently
on.
14% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. All right, I'm not even going to read the article, but I just thought I'd share that.
Just set it to the side because I do have that is at the end. I'm going to ask you guys what your expectations are of this.
I had some respect for him for standing up for himself on this whole whitewash thing, but now that's shot.
Donald Trump is responsible for this. I mean,
Donald Trump is responsible for everything. He's responsible for the gates of hell opening up,
apparently,
according to some people. But
so the artwork.
He's responsible for the artwork. The piece of crap that it is.
It's entirely possible.
Let's talk to Ham Sandwich Andrews, and he'll blame Trump as well.
Oh, he'll just tell you where to get a good can of baked beans at.
Donald Trump ghosts drew this comic. No.
Oh.
Can I say something about the art that isn't a complete slam?
Yeah.
Let me put on my serious face. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go.
There it is.
All right, I'm shaking my sillies out. Here we go. I think, the phrase goes, I don't know art, but I know what I like. And if you like it, that's fine. I'm not going to say that it's bad because art is very subjective. And it's not like, as I'm flipping through Rage here, it's not like it's incompetently drawn. It's definitely stylized.
Mm-hmm.
I don't particularly like the style.
Okay.
There's some variant covers in here that I actually think are very well done. But this is going to sound kind of funny, but I know that there are people who like a comic book to look comic booky. They want stylized artwork. I'm kind of a photorealist preference person. I want this to look as close to real as possible, but fantastic. So in other words, I want someone to draw something fantastic, something completely out of this world, but make it look as real as possible. That's my preference. Those are the art in Old Man Logan, for example, I thought was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't stylized in any way. People looked like people. I could understand what was happening. But by contrast, there's a lot of panels in this that you could actually hang on your wall. They look very interesting and very artistic. It's just not my preference.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like the first issue, I don't have I was like, yeah, the art is pretty good. So, but as it goes along, it just, I don't know, it just gets on my nerves really. If you look at, let's see, page, I don't know what page it is, because I'm on, let's see, 2, 3, 4, page, yeah, about 4 there, 3 or 4. The dude looks like Sabretooth. And then as you go along past, Danny Rand present day, and to, it just, I don't know, it's good, but I mean, there's just a whole lot going on. You know what I mean?
Ham Sandwich Andrews is making a face right now, and it looks a little bit like this.
Wow. Yeah, see, there is nobody that makes that face.
Hang on, I can't see the. There we go.
Okay, now see, I remember when I was reading this, when it came to criticism of the art, this stuck out to me. Okay, our listeners out there have no idea if they're.
What is happening in that picture? Is that Hitler as Iron Fist?
I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. I know that his eyes are way too far apart. I mean, you could drive a tractor trailer between his eyes.
Wait a minute. Between the shading on his chin, the little mustache, and the eyes, he looks a little D2D.
This is my profile picture, by the way. It's happening right now.
Okay, he looks like Retard Fist, not Iron Fist.
Oh, dude. We're going to get letters. We're going to get letters.
Dude, if we got letters, that would be a first.
No, that's true.
Ronnie Adams. Streaming Boy Podcast, and right over there.
I occasionally get a tweet
You will not blame this on me, sir.
I occasionally get a tweet that says, "Fix your microphone, asshole." That's about it.
Oh man,
Well, okay.
this is horrible.
This isn't even the worst thing that's been said on this network in 3 years. Get out of here.
Man, all right. So, okay, this is probably my biggest criticism to the art right here. Is this guy?
He sounds so much like a podcast host because he sounds like a fucking witness.
All right,
wanna,
stop
yeah, like-
sharing.
I don't want to do this anymore.
No more.
Where were you on the night of April 15th?
Iron Fist. All right, look. We got here we go. Let's get into Iron Fist, the living weapon. I sat down here in my basement and I wrote out a synopsis for all of these. I did it because I love this. I love this show. I love this network.
Listen, Radlitz, listen, you fuckers. Shut up. I wrote a synopsis.
I did it. Here we go. All right. So, our first 6 issues of Iron Fist, the living weapon. See if you can contain yourselves here, boys.
Absolutely not.
He's yelling at me.
2014 is when this came out. I think it was 2013, 2014, in between there. But anyway, okay. As a child, Daniel Rand was orphaned in a series of tragic events during his father's attempt to find the mystical city of Kunlun. Young Danny was rescued and raised by the inhabitants of Kunlun, growing into a warrior who defeated the dragon Shao Lao, we've heard that name before, to gain the power of the Iron Fist. But instead of joining his adopted people in an immortal paradise, he chose to leave, seeking revenge for his parents' death. Now, fast forward to present time. Danny finds out that there is a problem in Kunlun when a young wounded monk girl named Pei, I'm going to pronounce her Pei,
Pei.
Pei, shows up seeking him out. Traveling to Kunlun through a portal in his very own building, by the way, Rand Tower.
And it begins.
Danny finds it laid to waste. Kunlun is destroyed. Seeking the shadowy person that led the attack, Danny finds an incomprehensible hulking figure as the man responsible, but there's a catch. It bears the face of his deceased father. Danny cannot fathom this thing as really being his father and realizes it is a deadly warrior called the One, a champion that those asking to be keeper of Kunlun must face as a challenge to earn that title. Danny engages in combat with the One, but it is all for naught, as his iron fists have no effect. And in one swift act, the One grabs and crushes Danny's hands. But before the killing blow could be struck, an old monk named Fu, Fu,
Silence is Fu.
rescues him from the clutches of the One, taking him away to rest. Also under the care of the watchful eye and help of a childhood friend named Sparrow. So that's pretty much our first 6 issues. Now, there's some side plot stuff going on, especially with Pei, which you guys are more than welcome to talk about. But that's the gist of our first 6 issues. I told you, I truncated that crap down to a small paragraph.
You definitely made it intelligible because I got more out of you doing it than actually reading it.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now, and I'll just go ahead and start this fun train we're going to have. My biggest criticism of these, almost of the story as a whole, but I'll say for these first 6 issues is just drawing stuff out. I mean, we're just continually, it just feels like we're taking one little thing that could have been in 2 or 3 issues. Instead, we've got to make it 6. And I don't know if that was actually the intent was to tell a short, small story, but they said, no, we can make this a 12-issue arc. And then we get this. But let's go ahead. Mark, what do you have to say about these first 6 issues? What would you first like to discuss, bring up?
In all seriousness, if I could be serious for a moment. I think my biggest criticism of the book in general, and it's more offensive in raids than it is redemption, is the non-linear nature of the storytelling.
Yes.
The sudden stop of the narrative, the constant flashbacks, the flashbacks within a flashback. It's all very muddled. One of the critics, I read a lot of criticisms on Goodreads.com. And if you're wondering, why did you go to Goodreads.com? Because I had to find someone who could summarize the fucking plot for me.
Tell me what the hell's going on.
I have a master's degree and I couldn't figure this shit out.
Oh.
Honors English for all 4 years of high school. And I'm like, duh, I like cheese. I have no idea what's going on in this book. So,
I do like cheese, though.
Cheese is delicious, along with pie.
Cheese pie.
Exactly. I was reading some reviews on Goodreads, and that was kind of the consensus, especially for Rage, which was, it's not that you can't do a non-linear story. So, like, here's an example, but it's a film example. Drink, everybody. I'm the film guy. Quentin Tarantino told a non-linear story in Pulp Fiction, and I remember talking about it in one of my film classes when I was in college. Yeah, I'm one of those people. And it was like, and we had a discussion over if you were to re-edit Pulp Fiction so that it was linear, what's the beginning and what's the end of the movie? Who's the protagonist? Who's the antagonist? Who are the side characters? Not who are the stars? Who are the protagonists and antagonists? Quentin Tarantino, despite the fact that it was non-linear, did a good job of shouldering the narrative and telling a story that still made sense despite the constant shooting back and forth through time and space. You have to have a deft hand to tell that kind of a story. Ham Sandwich Anders doesn't. He's just all.
Now we're just not even going to call him what he actually, even any part of his name at all.
Did I call him Anders?
Yes, you did. That's all right.
Okay. Shuck
Ham
Oysters,
sandwich.
Shuck Oysters Finn.
Yeah.
It's like
We're looking for sponsors.
He's just it's like he wrote it with ADHD, non-medicated. When he's just all over the place. And it would be fine if it worked. I wouldn't criticize it, but it doesn't. I feel like every time the story starts to get going, it stops very suddenly. It's like sitting in bumper to bumper traffic, and then you're into this flashback, and it's like, I don't learn any more about these characters as you go through this by this method. It's just a very confused, muddled story. And that's just the beginning of my frustration with reading this.
It's a good point that you're making there, because nonlinear storytelling works if you can make it relatable to the story and tell it as a whole. What I felt when I would see this thing do a flashback or whatever, every once in a while you got a flashback that added to the story. You're like, oh, okay, now I kind of see where we're going here. But then a lot of times when we were doing a flashback, I was lost. I was like, okay, what is this? And then we'd go forward in time, and I'm trying to relate the two. I'm trying to relate the flashback to why, okay, we just skipped forward. What's going on here? And I don't know what it was, if it was the style of writing, but I did not follow. I didn't follow. Ronnie, you got anything you'd like to add on that? I mean, did that confuse you at all, or did you notice the?
I watched
jumps?
Lost, and I didn't have a clue what was going on in this story.
All right. I mean, that was it. But me personally, I always feel that I got to jump to the defense of Lost. I enjoyed the way Lost did that.
I love Lost, and
Okay.
and that was my show, but you can't tell me that it wasn't confusing at times.
At times,
You
yes.
cannot tell me. So you had to really be involved in it to understand what was going on. Flashbacks, flash forwards, flash sideways. It was crazy at times. But even with this was like excessive. I didn't have a clue what was going on. So
Can I throw a word out there and see if you guys agree with me? And I'm not going to do a monologue on it. I'm just going to say the word. give you guys a chance to sort of breathe it in and decide whether or not you agree. As far as this book, this story, this whole shebang is concerned, self-indulgent?
Mm-hmm.
I
can get down with that.
Yeah, I mean, when you say that, what explain what you mean? I mean, go into. Do you feel that the writer is being self-indulgent, or
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm all for art. I really am. I know I'm the guy that likes the boom explosions, but I'm really not that shallow of a film person. I enjoy a good art project, but not every movie that is artistic in its attempt succeeds.
okay.
I will stand by the fact that The Lobster sucks, and I'll fight anyone that disagrees with me. But The Lobster's terrible.
I will not fight you because I have not seen that.
Oh, you want to waste 2 hours of your life and then demand it back? Go watch The Lobster. I'm being a little harsh, but I mean, if you liked it, that's fine. But I just not. It's like
Apparently not.
No, what I'm trying to say, I guess poorly, is that there is this sense I get in certain situations where because something was indie or because something was artfully done, there's this propped up idea of, okay, well, it has to be good then. Not necessarily. Just because you did something with an air of competence doesn't necessarily make it good or entertaining. And at the end of the day, you could create this beautifully artistic, expressionist, postmodern thing and not entertain a single person on earth. And the only people giving it good thoughts, good critique, are people who tend to inflate that sort of thing. And so when I say this is self-indulgent, I feel like this is just the writer just sitting there with his pants off, drawing this comic and writing with one hand, jerking off in the other, talking about how great he is. And it's like, and I'm like, why? It's like, no. Instead of this just feels like a.
Had a bad joke.
Keep it to yourself, Searcher.
Brings new meaning to a splash page.
Oh, keep it to yourself, Searcher.
Boom.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I will conclude this rant by saying,
please do. It's going.
This feels like a dumb person's attempt to create something, artful and it's just like, no, you didn't create anything special here. You created a bunch of nonsense with a bunch of splash color.
Okay. Here's my problem with really, crapping all over Ham Sandwich. Andrews here. My thing is that I'm coming into this character brand new. I have no idea about the history of who Danny Rand is or who Iron Fist is, what his powers are, where the hell he came from. I mean, that probably honestly was the biggest mystery to me at all overall. And when it comes to the storytelling and the art itself combined, I can't give him too much of a hard time because I don't know what came before this. So I don't think I can't successfully sit here and say, well, he's crapping on the legacy of Iron Fist, which I know that's not what you're saying, Mark. You're saying that what he's doing here is more of an artistic expression and trying to get this story across in a different way. I don't know. I don't feel, to me, it doesn't come off like that to me. Okay. Self-indulgent. I don't know. I don't know any about this guy's work. I'd love to see what else he's done just to maybe say, okay, well, hey, he hasn't done something this bad before. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say.
What happened?
What happened to you, man? But clearly a lot of people dug this. Marvel Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You said this was a Marvel Now book, right? Because wasn't that where they tried to kind of like relaunch, or at least it was a jumping on point for most people who read Marvel? Ronnie, do you know?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go ahead and go along with you there. So, this is his attempt to get across somewhat of an origin story, which I think it somewhat successfully does. Here in our first, I thought when I read the first issue of this series, I really dug it. I'll tell you that right now, because we started at the beginning, or at least we had a bit of a story told, which, okay, it was, a reporter by the name of Brenda comes to Danny, tell me your story. And he tells her his story about his, father falling from a precipice as they were going to go find Kunlun. And I was like, okay, I can dig this. I can dig it. And then all of a sudden, as we started going through issues 2 and 3, things just got weird. Now, is that because of... I can't say if that's because Andrews is trying to tell a part of the mythos, and I just never heard it before, and this is a spin on the mythos, and it's, oh man, this guy's being revolutionary and doing something new with Iron Fist. I could say he made it interesting at first, but then shit got weird when we started talking about chi. When we're starting talking about chi, and that's a whole cultural separation. And really, that doesn't feel like, I don't know. Did you get the feeling, Mark, when they were telling this backstory of Danny trying to grow up in Kunlun? He was definitely a white guy out of his element.
Yeah, look, I don't think the story itself is that bad. Towards the end, it gets a little bizarre, but I think in general, I said this to you guys in our chat earlier. There's a solid story somewhere in the bedrock of this series of comics.
I agree.
It's just, they took a series, they took what started out as, I think, a solid story, and then it was like, okay, we're going to tell this story, but we're going to tell it in this weird, non-linear way, and we're going to spend a lot of it just sort of with meandering dialogue. I don't know if that's the technical term you're supposed to use in comics when it's that box lettered stuff and it's in the character's mind.
Oh, okay.
But there was a lot of that, especially in like Redemption, and I had to like skip those pages after a while, where it was like, oh, okay, fucking more Danny Rand in his inner monologue, his endless inner monologue. So like I said, it's like, I don't fault the story as such. I think there's a really good story here. It's just told shitty.
Well, Ronnie Adams.
Yeah.
What have you got to say about these first 6?
Man, it's just weird. It's not how I wanted to be, introduced to my first solo story of Iron Man, because it truly is my first solo story, or Iron Fist.
It's catching on.
Charger.
Well, hey, let's just stop real quick and explain why we are allowed to make that mistake. Okay? I think we are. I know Iron Fist and Iron Man are 2 different people, but look at the similarities of the 2 characters. Okay?
Go on.
Hey, okay, I understand. Tony Stark's a genius and whatever, but did you not pick up on the whole playboy rich kid vibe that Danny Rand was putting on?
Jesse, I love you, but this is now going down the Arrow is Batman is Iron Man story, and I can't take it.
What? You don't? Okay, so you don't agree?
I think there are tropes in comics, but this is okay. I don't want to dominate this whole discussion, so I'll keep this very brief. But this is what pissed both Winfrey and I off when Doctor Strange came out, and people were like, "Oh, Doctor Strange is just Iron Man with magic." No, he fucking isn't. Okay, they were. That's like saying all white people look alike. No, they don't. But I noticed how I kept the racism out of that
You
one.
did.
Huh?
You
Huh?
did. You did a flip flop.
Yeah. But it's if you can't if you and I'm not saying this about you, Jesse, but just sort of a you in general. If you can't pick out the subtle differences in characters, you shouldn't just go around painting everything with this wide brush.
Oh, okay. All right. Now,
I mean, Danny Rand is not Iron Man, and Iron Man is not Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is not fucking Green Arrow, and certainly Green Arrow is not Batman.
okay. All right. But the thing is,
But we're
is
not
that
allowed to point out the similarities between the two characters?
there's similarities between the two. And hey, I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and give you my first example. They both start with the word iron. All right. So, hey, I can make that mistake. But
you're right. I take it all back. Sorry.
I win. No, seriously though, we're going to be able to make just because it's going to be a Freudian slip that I assume that we just continue to keep making. But anyway, okay, go ahead, Ronnie, before I derailed everything by throwing that up in Mark's face.
By comparing the ninja who happens to have iron in his name to the billionaire fucking tech magnate who built himself a suit of armor with lasers.
Ronnie Adams.
I got nothing to say after all this.
Oh, is there anything that you liked about the first 6 issues? Ronnie Adams.
Not really.
Oh, come on. Got to be something. I mean, did you...
Come on, Jason. Think of something.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, hey.
Don't you go there.
I love him, but I'm way more positive than he is.
Positively, Ronnie Adams. What did we get here? Now, there's one thing that I totally left out of my synopsis. Like I said, we kind of left some side story out, and we're going to get to that because boy, do I have I have myself a nice little last issue bit that we're going to go on. But there's a character by the name of Brenda who shows up in these first 6 issues. That's the reporter I had mentioned, or I don't know, some girl who's investigating the backstory of Danny Rand. And her whole story throughout this arc, especially these first 6 issues, I did not understand why in the world she was part of what was going on these first 6. Did you guys have any hints without giving the final bit away when we hit the final issue? But was that building up in any way with what she was doing in these issues?
I thought it was a narrative device at first.
Funny you use that word, building.
Wah, wah.
Well, there it is.
I just thought it was an interesting narrative device. It was, hey, we're going to tell you the story of Iron Fist, and so it's a common enough trope to have your protagonist talking to a reporter of some kind. I didn't realize she would become an integral part of a weird side chase story.
Yeah.
When we get to the end of the book and what she does and how it came completely out of fucking left field, I want to talk about how there's a great story to be had there. But it's kind of it's kind of the Lucas way of telling a story where you're just like, where did that come from? Why are we in the? It's just like, hey, here's a story where I'm only going to tell you the end of it. Like, all right.
Yeah. Man, I remember just reading, and what they would do is they would show you what's going on with Danny. Danny, he went over to Kunlun, and he had his fight with the One, and then of course got his ass handed to him, his hands handed to him, and he gets, so we kind of keep up with that main part of the story, but it's like they had to find something to fill it with. Okay, here's Brenda, here's Detective Lee, and here's Pei, and they're over here on Earth, and of course, one thing that I forgot to add to that brief synopsis of issues 1 through 6 was how at the end, the One decides to bring over a guy by the name of Davos, which that's another character that I've never heard of before, but apparently is very prominent, I would assume, in the mythos of, well, I'd hate to say that and him be actually created for this story, but he seemed like he'd been there for a while. Davos is like this villainous character who I would assume is Danny Rand's rival or Iron Fist's rival from Kunlun. But anyway, Davos and the One come over, and they come through the breach, once more onto the breach, through Rand Tower, and they have decided they're going to set up a new Kunlun on Earth. So we have Brenda, Detective Lee, and Pei, who Davos is trying to capture. She was wounded by Pei in these, what'd they call them? Like, I can't remember what, like, oh man, crazy monks or something. Dark monks? I can't remember. But anyway.
Crazy monks.
Crazy monks and their arrows. So we have this whole side thing going on. And there's a dragon involved too. I don't even want to get into that, but there is. And although the dragon is kind of important because it causes something towards the end. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and we'll open up one more. I mean, anything else you guys like to say about the first 6 before we go on to our synopsis of 7 through 12?
It's cool that you get to see the backstory of Iron Fist. You don't get to see that very much. To me, he's always been a character that's been kind of thrown in along with other people. There's something positive.
That's true. Did you know anything about his powers before we really went into this?
Some of them I knew about, but some of them, like I didn't know that he got tired after, I went on to say that he wasn't overpowered, but then you started listing all stuff that I didn't know about, and I was like, well, holy crap. I didn't know that about him. So I knew he could heal himself and heal others through the power of the Iron Fist, but I did not know that it would make him tired.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We'll hop into issues 7 through 12. I'm going to do 7 through 11, and then we'll talk about the epilogue here.
Well, we probably talk about how Rage ends, because it's very important in setting up the next book.
With the where we talk, go ahead, Mark. Was that where? I
mean, you alluded to it when you're like, oh, we got his hands handed to him.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, in reality, he goes back to like free Kunlun from whatever dictatorship has taken over, and he fights. I guess it's Davos. I honestly couldn't follow what was happening. I just know that he attempts to use the Iron Fist power, and he destroys his hands. He shatters his bones.
He was fighting the One there, wasn't he? The big hulking dude, wasn't he fighting the guy that had his face? Now, see, I'm gonna have to go find the issue. Go ahead, Mark.
He's fighting whatever boss he's fighting.
Boss 1, level 1, fight.
He loses that fight, and he has his hand smashed, and he's sort of just left a broken, battered. There's actually, when I was talking to Gavin from formerly the Casual Heroes and the Bunkhouse Stampede, online about this, and we were talking about covering this book. There was a picture that he had sent me. Might have been a variant cover, might have been an actual cover, and he was like, "Oh, was it this one?" And I didn't know it at the time because I hadn't read it yet. But it's the picture of a pained and distraught Iron Fist with his hands smashed in a crouching position.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean by I'd hang that on my wall. It's as unrealistic as it looks. It's also artfully done. This is what I mean by this is another example of self-indulgent. There's a lot of really interesting stuff here, but I don't know if it always adds to the narrative at all. This particular picture is fine. Probably not the best example of what I'm talking about, but this is what Gavin had sent me. So this is sort of sparking the discussion. But anyway, it's the smashing of the hands and the breaking of his body that sets up the next book, basically 7 to 12.
Yeah, he gets rescued by Fu, and Fu takes him to go pretty much try and recuperate. Gets him away from the One, the big scary thing with Danny's dad's face, and now we get into redemption. We went from rage to redemption. Now Danny's got a lot of healing to do.
Hang on real quick.
Yeah.
So rage, an important element of rage is that, and because it's a line constantly repeated throughout the story, I was given an opportunity to choose, I think it's life or death, and I chose death. What he's saying is, like, you know, he gets orphaned in Kunlun after both of his parents die. His dad falls off a cliff. Mom gets eaten by wolves.
I'm sorry, I don't know why that's funny to me.
There's another guy, Meacham, who I guess, and I didn't really understand how this came to be, but he's kind of getting blamed for this family getting killed on this excursion, even though the dad was the one going crazy trying to find Kunlun. But that's neither here nor there. Just kind of accept on face that Danny somehow harbors resentment and wants to seek vengeance against Meacham for the death of both of his parents, and you know, causing him to be stranded in Kunlun and trained to be a ninja. So he becomes the Iron Fist, and it's like, okay, well, you can stay and be the Iron Fist of Kunlun, or you can seek vengeance. You can choose death and go after Meacham. And he was like, I'm choosing death, and you know, vengeance shall be mine. And he finds Meacham, and Meacham's like a broken shell of himself, and like not worth killing. Which is again an important element when you get to the very end of the story. So it leaves his psyche somewhat scarred, which is interesting stuff. I just wish it was told better. I shouldn't have to, like, 3 times in a single sentence go, and I really couldn't follow what was happening. I like the idea. I like the intent of, we raised you up with honor and power, mystical power of the ancient Asians, and you use it to settle a petty vengeance score, you immature child.
Yeah.
Which is great grist for the mill. You know, it's a great story. It's just, like, not told very well. But that all kind of comes back in the second book as one of the 57 different side plots.
That's right. And believe it or not, it's all over the place. Okay. Yeah. That's a good, I am going to touch on that, by the way, Mark. I know it feels like I left that out, but that's because I saved it all for last, believe it or not. I'm going to give the big rundown of his, kind of like the origin part of this. And of course, what awaits us for our final issue, which left field, my goodness. Okay. Issue 7. Anything else, Mark, before I go on?
You may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Ronnie Adams, you still awake?
I'm good. Yeah.
Man?
Sorry.
You're good.
That one caught me off guard.
You're all right. All right. Issues 7 through 12, Redemption. And we learn that because Kunlun has been destroyed, the chi that Danny uses to fuel the Iron Fist is gone, leaving him powerless. Fu and Sparrow nurse Danny back to health with a little aid of forbidden Kunlun technology. Let's stop right there. Did this come out of nowhere for you guys? The whole technology thing?
Yep.
I mean, yeah. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he explains it. He's like, it's not really technology so much as it is a brace. And if you try to punch with it, you're going to shatter your arm. No, sorry. If you use the Iron Fist power, you're going to shatter your arm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know that. When I thought of Kunlun, I thought it was all this paradise martial arts. You don't see those two usually brought together a whole lot. Technology and martial arts, especially with the mysticism and magic supposedly that surrounds those things. So when I was like reading this and they said, oh yeah, the forbidden technology of Kunlun, like it was some kind of underground thing. We don't touch it, but it's there. And you know, they use this stuff to help Danny heal, which is kind of crazy. Good idea, Mark. Mark Radulich coming up with some intros and outros. He's always on the ball. So, okay. But yeah, that took me by surprise. I didn't expect that to be a part of the story. But I thought it was neat. I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. All right. So anyway, we got the forbidden Kunlun technology, these braces, these fists that go on his arms to help compensate for the loss of chi.
As opposed to the fists that go on his feet.
Nice.
Sorry, my bad.
Every day Jesse gets closer to, and welcome to Source Material here exclusively on WTM Tonight.
Want to thank Sean Garmer for coming through and
For not being the other two.
Yes. But before Danny Rand can truly heal, his next challenge is to confront the spirit of his dead mother. Now you kind of touched on how she died, Mark. I wanted to also talk about that, where they were, his dad's like, hey, let's go on a trip. Danny's dad's like, let's go on a trip. We're going to go find the mystic city of Kunlun. Now, I don't know if he told his family we're just going to go hang out, but you can tell that in this story, soon after, or as soon as they realize that their life is in peril, Danny starts to realize that his dad is obsessed with finding this city of Kunlun. Now, it's not, it wasn't just Danny, his mom, and his dad. Danny's dad also brought along his business partner, Harold. Okay, now he's a pretty important.
Hey there,
partner.
Harold.
Harold, you want to come with us? We're heading to Kunlun. All right, I'm on my way. So Harold joined them. Now there's an avalanche that strikes, and pretty much it causes the family to fall down some cliffs, pretty much. I mean, they're
Harold done messed up.
They're in trouble. But to quickly get back to Danny's mom, after they were able to get up out of death's grasp, Danny and his mom start walking pretty much. They start walking, and they're not in good shape because Danny's dad has died. Danny he's about to lose his mom because a pack of wolves show up. And
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to laugh.
They proceed to, look, this is horrible. They eat his mom right before his eyes. I mean, he watches that happen. And luckily, some residents of Kunlun saved him. So
I just want to say it's Ronnie's fault that I'm laughing. I was taking this seriously. And then Ronnie started laughing, then I started laughing.
Best joke tonight, devoured by a pack of wolves. That's wins the audience every time.
And that really shows where this show is going.
She sacrificed herself so Danny could get away. So anyway, okay. Now, so in order to get right with your body, you've got to get right with your mind as well. So the big part of the healing process is Fu sends him to go, I don't want to say confront, but basically he wants Danny to come to reconcile with his mom because that there's still that bit that's kind of hanging over him about how she died. And with that done, Danny, he goes, there's a whole underworld scene where he goes and confronts his mom, and they talk it out. They hug it out. Hug it out. Hug it out. All right. Where is this gone? With that done, Danny, Fu, and Sparrow head back to Earth to confront Davos and the One. So we're heading back through the gateway into Rand Tower. Now, there's a scene that very much resembles The Matrix. I don't know if you guys picked up on that or not, but man, in one of these issues, I can't remember which one it is, there is, the One's kind of hanging out there, and there are all these bodies like inside a bunch of pods. And I assume this technology that Kunlun, this forbidden technology, is siphoning the chi from these people, this force from these people. Now, as Danny's kind of getting his bearings and trying to figure out what the hell's going on, Fu cuts this cord and throws it into Danny, infusing him with an overload of chi. So now all of a sudden, he's powering up. He's getting
over 9,000.
Over 9,000. And the battle's on now. It's the One versus Iron Fist. However, during that battle, it is soon shown that Iron Fist has been tricked. Oh man, it gets crazy here, folks. All right. Iron Fist has been tricked into committing an act that would breach the barriers of heaven and hell as the one intended to bring back Danny's mom. So, this thing that had Danny's dad's face clearly also had Danny's father's intentions as well. So he tricks Iron Fist into breaking this barrier, but instead of Danny's mom, this is the greatest name ever, out comes a deity, an elder god by the name of Zhu Rong. Zhu Rong. Zhu very, very wrong. Oh my goodness. Zhu Rong.
Listen, I don't care if we make fun of blacks, gays, or women, but I will not have you besmirching the chosen people on my network.
What is happening?
The chosen people, an elder god.
You called him Jew wrong. It's not my
No,
problem.
not Zhu Rong.
Oh,
Ronnie, help me out.
No,
Ronnie.
no, you
All right. Anyway,
you made your bed. You lie in it, sir.
no. You're very wrong. All right. Now we get the most ridiculous fight ever. Okay, it's the most crazy as this 12-issue series gets. I would say that it goes overboard in this fight between Zhu Rong.
you said it again. I don't know why you're putting emphasis on it.
You tell me. Is it Zhu?
What page are you on?
Look at the big. What do you call it, Ronnie? It was a cross between the big fiery guys with the big eyes. What is his name?
Oh, it was I don't know his name. But it was a cross between
Okay, this is after the confrontation with the mom that's in black and white, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the big fiery deity that comes through at the end.
The one that's just like, get out of my way, you marionette.
Hold on. Let me find the issue. We got to be in like issue. No, it's right after he gets infused with the chi.
Okay, I'm there now.
And let's go to. He goes to the fight.
It's a mix between that yellow bastard from that's his actual name.
That is his actual name.
From Sin City and Slapstick from Marvel Comics.
Last page of issue 10 in Redemption.
Okay, yeah, something else entirely. Dad, what the hell did you bring to New York City? And it looks like a very happy fucking devil with a sword. And the guy goes, "Oh no." The guy, listen to me. Here we go. Where is she? Where is my wife? This is the guy wearing. This is the evil person that he's been fighting for 2 books, wearing his father's face.
The one.
Okay. Out of my way, she waits for me, and then the guy gives him a creepy molester smile. And then I have destroyed the boundaries between earth and heaven. 2 worlds as one. I will not be stalled by some dancing marionette, which could have worked for me as the name. I would have liked it if it was the dancing marionette.
You're wrong, though, Mark. You're wrong.
Obey me, creature. Kneel before the one or suffer the consequences. And then we have Danny's inner monologue. Pride is a dangerous thing. In the name of love. What's more in the name of love?
Sing it.
I am...
Yeah, say it. Please do me a favor. Do me a favor, and please,
yeah, you
please.
Semite.
Wow,
you say that word. Pronounce it for me, and I will.
You.
Oh, Zhu wrong.
You.
Zhu wrong.
I am Zhu Wong.
You just said it with a W.
Yeah.
You know that's an R. Oh, now see who's being racist now. You are unbelievable.
By pronouncing things phonetically correct in the Asian dialect.
No way.
That clearly says ham sandwich.
All right.
Hang on. I'm gonna ask Google how to pronounce this.
Please do.
How?
That's Whistle Stop Jenkins.
We have a lot of fun on this show.
Oh my goodness. Whistle Stop Jenkins.
He knows where the well water is.
You know, we have. I would probably. That would have been
And
awesome if that was his name.
If Mrs. Smith is making her pies, he knows. He knows.
All hail Whistle Stop Jenkins. All hail Whistle Stop Jenkins.
Okay, I'm on howtopronounce.com.
Oh goodness.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna put.
Sure.
I'm gonna. All right, I've got the volume of my computer turned on. It's all the way up.
Okay, let's
All right,
hear.
here we go.
Zero.
Ah!
Hang on, let's do that again.
Zero.
Zer. Okay, no. First of all, there's a Z there.
Okay.
Zer wrong.
Zer
Not-
wrong.
No, not Jew wrong. Not Jew wrong.
Did you put the hyphen in?
What?
You didn't put the hyphen in, did you? No, you didn't.
Okay, but even if you throw the hyphen in there, then it's Zer, like Emperor Zerg. It's Zer and then Ong. Zer-ong.
ZHU and then
ZHUR-ONG. Zer-ong.
no. That is not what this says. This says ZHU-RONG.
Well, I can't help but the editor's fucking illiterate in Chinese.
All right, you give me. No, all right. You wrong.
Zero. Zero.
Everyone starts with a Z.
All right. Zoo wrong. Zoo wrong.
Zer-ong.
Zerong. Who's wrong?
This whole show is wrong.
This.
This whole show is Zoo wrong.
Somebody get Josh Calandris on the phone.
All right, I'm on
Oh.
godchecker.com now.
Oh, God
Okay.
Checker. This is
Okay, and-
this is Ray Stance's website.
You know, I said that to somebody at work. We were talking about something, and I was like, "Well, somebody asked you if you're a god, you say yes," and she refused to. She's just like, "I'm not telling people I'm a god. Get out of here, crazy white boy." Zoo wrong, and the dash is between the U and the R this time. Okay, it's a Chinese fire god, the god
Okay.
of fire and heavenly executioner. His domain is the southern quarter of heaven, where he rides a tiger
He ain't riding no tiger in this issue.
and presides over universal order. Legend tells that he was so proud of helping to establish heaven and earth that the authority,
Hence the
Who is-
smile.
who is Vince McMahon and Triple H, went straight to his head. Well, that's about right. When
Okay.
Gong Gong, no lie, GONG-GONG, came along boasting of supreme magnificence, it was more than his ego could bear. All right. So, yeah,
He showed
Zoo-
up. He showed up on Earth and fought a building.
Oh, we're actually back to we've now decided on a pronunciation.
I'm not pronouncing it anymore to avoid any. I'm just calling him Whistle Stop Jenkins. That's what I'm calling him from here on out. This has lasted too long.
You are welcome, sir.
God of Fire, Whistle Stop Jenkins. I love it.
All right. Okay. So Whistle Stop shows up, and we've got a fight on our hands.
Oh my
All right.
gosh.
Now here's what's crazy.
Well, can we talk about the fact that Iron Fist turned into Optimus Prime? If
Yes.
we're gonna do that.
Yes, I mean
Okay.
I don't understand. Okay, he's like, oh, I got to fight this guy somehow.
I've got to find him somehow.
And I don't know if it's Fu who suggests it or maybe it's he figures it out himself. But apparently the Rand Tower is rife with all this chi siphoning energy, or excuse me, it's chi siphoning technology. So much so that Iron Fist, in a baffling, he's just like, I've got to somehow become large enough to fight this god, and what better way than to become a building? He
Sure.
he somehow takes control of the Rand Tower, and we have a fight on our hands, much like what you would see in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There's no doubt in my mind that that's what anybody who sees this would be drawing the conclusion. It's either that or it's Godzilla in some Godzilla movie. Okay. So we get a fight. I mean, I don't know if I can do this fight justice because like, old Whistle Stop's got his sword out and he's chopping buildings in half. And meanwhile, Danny Rand is floating in some blackness, a la I don't know if he I also was like doing Pacific Rim correlations here. Like, okay, is he moving his arm and that's how that's working? And I mean, I put way too much thought into the fact that Danny Rand's a fucking building. Okay, I should have just said, okay, stop it. But not. It doesn't get. That isn't even the worst part. The worst part is the fact that they fight in this 11th issue, and some revelation occurs where he's like, "Oh man, he's figured out." Dude, if you just look at the second to last page of issue 11, okay, Danny Rand is hopping out of the building that he was piloting, I guess I would say. And meanwhile, Whistle Stop has his hand and he's like, I mean, he's straight up like destroying the skyline of this city. And Danny Rand is flying, Iron Fist ablazing, and that's it. That's the end of the issue. There's no other panel that shows you the battle that ensues between tiny little Danny Rand and big old Whistle Stop. Okay, there's no explanation. I don't know what. I mean, the only thing.
Here's how this ends. So he's got like this Nike pose going on as he's proceeding to jump out of the building, and he looks.
I'm sharing it. You describe it. I'm sharing it. Go ahead.
He's about to deliver the Iron Fist to.
You get the Iron Fist tonight, baby.
Oh my God!
Now, let me first. My first problem with, if you look at the angle of where he's about to punch, he's going to land that on the guy's forehead, which, as we all know, is the hardest part of the body and the worst place to punch. This is already going to end up bad. But anyway. The dead, they whisper to me one last time, but I am not. I'm bored fucking reading this. I am not with them yet. I am here. I am now. I choose life. I am a Republican. I am
what?
Alive. Sorry, he said I choose life. That's where my brain went.
Oh, gotcha.
Because they're like pro-life. Get it?
Yeah.
Politics. And the god of fire falls for what seems like an eternity. So right there, he says he punched him and he died.
Oh, he says it, but all you have is a pose and him just going out. He doesn't even connect. Well, I guess maybe he does because there is a.
Okay, look closely at the picture.
By the Iron Fist.
Look closely at the picture.
Yes.
Okay, so that black thing in the right-hand corner, if you're looking at it. So it would be stage left. Jesus, Ronnie. The black shadowy figure is Whistle Stop.
Oh, show's off the rails. Oh my gosh.
Whistle Stop got punched dead in the noodle. And is falling over backwards like a tree. Now you turn the page, right? And let's read here. When a sun explodes, its iron core scatters across the universe to form new stars and seed new planets, new life. The iron in our blood is made from star stuff. Well, that's well written. And we are simply another turn in the cycle of it all. And so I believe that imprint that's crashed on the ground there is good old Whistle Stop.
Okay. All right. Now I see what's going on because I thought the way that this panel is, it's not a panel. It's like 10 panels in one because it shows, Danny Iron Fist slowly going up there. I didn't catch that part on the right-hand side there of him falling over. So very good. Nice looking out there, Mark.
Good catch, Mark.
Yeah, you understood it a lot better than I did. I thought there was a movie that came out, I don't know.
I think you understood it better than the writer of this book.
Not for nothing, but I literally just put that together right now because when I was reading it earlier today, I was like, I just want this to end. I don't give a fuck what just happened.
There it is. I've got it. I've got it shared here. But people, yeah, as you can see here, if you're watching this live, you whistle stop and all that good jazz right there. Here he goes. He's falling over here. Let me do that right there. Okay. So there we go. Danny Rand has saved the day, and he's brought everything, the destruction of the city to an end. And we pick up in our next issue kind of where everything left off. He's pops out of this fire god completely naked. And
like you do.
It happens,
It
happens. It happens. Now, the epilogue shows the end result of the side story of Pei. Remember the little monk girl that first let Danny know something was going on. Well, she becomes the new Iron Fist. Now, I'm not really going to get into whole that. It's something to do with a dragon and the egg popping open and then the dragon getting killed. And now I'm sure that's probably integral to the story. I mean, Mark, do you have anything about Pei becoming the new Iron Fist? Did that seem to stick out to you? Like, oh my goodness, look at that twist.
Whenever a show is doing poorly in the ratings, I usually add a baby.
Okay. Very good. That's a good point. We gotta hey, we gotta give something out there to add a baby to.
Named her Pork and Bean Johnson.
I'm gonna stick with Pei on that. I'm gonna stick with Pei.
Isn't that like a name of like a dish at fucking fucking
Pork and Bean Johnson?
No
bullshit.
No Pei. I'm just thinking about what is the name of the shitty Chinese food place? Something Panda. I call it Fat Panda.
Panda Express.
Yeah. I feel like Pei is like half of a name of a dish at Panda Express. I'm gonna look it up.
Do that. Do that, please.
Please do that.
Let us know how to pronounce it while you're at it.
It's pronounced Dirty Jew, according to Jesse.
I don't listen. Okay. Hey, I blame Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat.
It's just giving up.
Mortal Kombat.
You blame Mortal Kombat for your hatred of the Jews?
Okay. All right, now listen. All right, here we go. You're finding Pei, whatever, there on look for that dish and whatever. Here we go. All right, now we got to get back to Brenda. Okay, we have to get back to Brenda.
Okay.
Because this is our final issue. Just pretty much centers around Danny Rand and his new lover. Remember, she was brought in at the start of this tale. She's trying to find out about Danny's history. Blah blah blah. Well, we kind of find out a little bit more about Brenda and where she came from. Now, remember when Danny and his family went on the search for Kunlun, Danny's dad brought along his business partner, Harold. Now, when the avalanche strikes during their expedition, it is shown that Harold had the chance to save Danny's father, who was hanging onto a cliff, much like Danny and his mom. However, after throwing him a rope, I bet you that's Mark Radulich sending me. There it is, Payway. Payway.com, everybody.
Wow.
Now,
and that's going on Facebook.
How you
got some source material?
And you can pronounce. At one point, I almost pronounced her name P-E-I, because I just, I didn't know which way to go. But that seriously that's peewee.com if I went that way.
It's Payway.
But it's Payway.
It's Payway.
Okay, thank you. But anyway, back to, yes, Harold. Harold threw a rope down to Danny's dad. And what we find out is that instead of bringing him up, he actually drops the rope and kills Danny's dad. But this doesn't happen like, unbeknownst to Danny and his mom. He does this like right in front of them, apparently, because when he throws a rope down to Danny and his mom, she's like, "How could you do this, Harold? What in the world do you know? I've watched you kill Danny's dad." Wish I knew Danny's dad's name. It'd make this thing a lot easier.
Are you sure it's not Panda Express?
Payway. Good old Payway Johnson.
All right. It's on Facebook now.
Payway Johnson.
Pay Wade Johnson.
And
There
it's
it
Pele.
is.
Hey, it's Pele.
Pele. All right. So as she is very upset at the fact, and Harold's like, "What do you mean? I didn't do that. I didn't drop your husband to his death." She's like, "Well, no. I watched you do it. I don't want anything to do with you." Hence, that's where they split up. Okay. She's like, "I'm not going anywhere with you. Me and Danny are walking off this way." And of course, that's not the greatest idea, walking alone in the wilderness, whether the other guy killed your husband or not. Regardless, she is not having to do anything with Harold. Now, and that's where we get the greatest joke in source material history. My mom got ate by wolves, and I watched her die.
What?
Wow.
Why is this funny?
I just snorted.
Yeah, you did. That's the best joke in source material history. All right, so we then of course starts the history of Danny in Kunlun as he gets rescued and brought into Kunlun, and he's able to. We know where that goes. But did you know Heather had her own problems with her mom as well? After becoming involved, no, she did not get eaten by wolves. We'll just go ahead and put that out there. But after her mom became involved with the man she worked for, she became pregnant. Her mom then went to the man and showed her his new daughter, and he fell in love and wanted to become a dad and become part of their lives. He would make sure to look after them just as soon as he got back from this business trip. That's right. The man who killed Danny's dad, Harold, is Brenda's father.
Dun, dun, dun.
But things don't get, hey, yeah, that's a twist.
What a
but
twist.
What a twist. Now, when Harold comes back from the trip, he's a crippled man. Something's changed in him. And he didn't want anything to do with Brenda or her mom. And after that, her mom's life fell apart. And when Brenda watched this happen, then in a cruel twist of fate, Harold passes away. And 2 days later, so does Brenda's mom. But not before she made Brenda vow to take revenge on the man or the family that did this to her. So Brenda's sole purpose of hooking up with Danny was to kill him. But she had a change of heart. And instead, she fell in love. She fell in love with Danny. I'm going to try and make sense of this because it gets crazy. She says that she falls in love with Danny, but she still decided that Danny needs to suffer.
Yeah, the implication is that chicks can't get the job done because they think with their vagina.
Okay.
Well,
all right. We've
you can write
alienated.
your letters to Mark Radulich.
We're
Why,
going to
Tom?
alienate races. We're going to alienate genders on this show.
Oh, fuck that. I'm sticking up for women here. I think this writer, Ham Sandwich Anders, is bullshit. He's like, she couldn't finish her assassin job.
So this is your criticism. Okay.
It was like, I have this hatred. I grew up like a fucking orphan and all this other stuff, and I must kill. Oh, my vagina is wet. I forgot to mention.
Oh my God. What? Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
I may be crass, but I have a point. God damn it.
It's getting there. It's the fun.
Wow.
So
wait a minute. Hang on. I bumped the ball. Someone wanted to debate me on this. Do you see it differently? I think it's ridiculous that they have this turn in here.
Well, I'll give you my best explanation as to what happened here in a few seconds. Okay. And I'm sort of in agreement with you, but I've still got to finish the story here because, well, you're all right. She decides that, well, it's not enough to kill Danny Rand, the man who, is responsible for my mother's suffering. Instead, she decided to make him fall in love with her. And then she was going to kill herself in front of Danny in order to make him suffer that much more. But if it wasn't for the fact that Danny Rand, with his super speed and iron fist, was able to catch the bullet before she could pull the trigger. And now, of course, that's to her dismay. She's upset. What am I going to do now? And she stomps off into the night. You know, I totally glossed over the fact that they had like a 5-page fight, which was just ridiculous. But
Which comes out of nowhere, by the way.
he's like, hey, I was thinking, why don't you come over and I don't know, you can hang out at the house from here on out. Maybe you know, become a part of my life. All right, let's fight in the middle of a fucking restaurant. And let me go ahead and get this bit out because I'm going to forget about it. She pulled the trigger once on that gun. Now you're going to fucking tell me she didn't have like 12 more bullets? She could have got the job done. She could have sat there and killed herself pretty easily. Instead, she pulls the trigger once and then she cries about the fact that, what am I going to do? And then she walks off. Okay. Now, to get back to what you were saying, Mark. Okay, this, you know how this feels like it comes out of left field. And here's what I think happened. Okay. And this is just me going, I have nothing to base this upon, but I can tell you right now that this story was standalone. Okay. Just imagine if instead of us reading the first 11 issues of this Living Weapon story, we had this one issue to start with. What I think happened is Ham Sandwich, he came up, he had an idea. He's like, I've got a great story. I want to introduce this character. I want to bring her in. And I honestly think that this would have been great if it wasn't for the fact that they built everything up. I think this story was written well before Living Weapon happened. And all the previous 11 issues was his way to try and legitimize? That's a word. Legitimize issue number 12. Because he wanted something, he felt he needed something to have a history of this guy. Oh, I got a great idea. Okay, here's this issue. Well, what are you going to, this is kind of out of nowhere. What do you want to do with it? I want to build all this backstory up to it. Let's tell a story about his origin. Let's bring in PP, and then we'll bring in, Whistle Stop, and then we'll have all this, and then our big final event will be this head-turning issue. Everybody will be like, what? Yeah, oh my gosh. We're going to talk about it. That's what happened is it ruined this 12th issue. All that stuff that came before it. I think this issue standalone would have been a great little bit of a story. Maybe one or two issues spread out. But regardless, Mark Radulich, what do you think of that theory? Sound?
Sure.
That's his way of not arguing with me, even though he wants to. Okay, Ronnie Adams?
Huh?
Yeah. All right.
Listen, I can't argue with you at all on that because
You got
one, I don't
5.
want to, and two, I don't have a freaking clue what happened in this book.
Okay.
And I know that sometimes I come off as the
Sure.
the idiot or the guy always making
That's
fun.
how I always intro you when post edit.
But yeah, it's lucky for you. I actually listen to these shows. But I try to make a joke or whatever. I honestly, this whole thing had me so confused, and it's one of those things where there was just too much going on. The art was the whole book, the book as a whole was just too busy.
Yeah.
And it was too, just like Mark said, this was to make the writer happy. This wasn't to make fans happy. And if this was somebody's introduction to Iron Fist, they will probably look at it and go, screw that. I'm not ever picking up another Iron Fist book. And that's a shame because he's a good character. He's got a lot of, good qualities in the whole character to read about, and it's a lot of fun. There was some stuff where he and Doctor Strange were going back and forth during a battle, and I can't remember what book that was in, but he was cutting some jokes and And Doctor Strange was like, now Daniel, called him Daniel.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
Maybe we should, be more, I don't know, adult in our humor or something. I don't know. It was something. It was just a lot of fun. He can be a fun character. He can be he can be a more complex character. This was not a good introduction to him at all.
Okay.
Here's the one thing I'll say about the twist ending with the chick.
What a twist!
It felt totally unearned.
Absolutely.
I think that's a story for another day. And by doing it tacked on, it's like, it's like you watch a movie, take a drink. You watch a movie and, they've been telling you this one story. And then there's this scene at the end of the movie that comes completely out of nowhere, wasn't set up in any real way. And you're just like, where did that come from? That's what it felt like, like the end of a bad horror movie or something. You're like, what? I didn't get the ending. Because none of it was set off. You're just paying off. You're paying off like an imaginary story, basically. I think, like I said in the chat, I think there's a story to be told about Danny abandoning Kunlun and seeking vengeance and him paying the price. I think there's a great story to be told in sacrificing everything that was meaningful to you, losing it, and having to earn it back. You probably don't have to turn into a building and fight a Zord.
That was my first reaction was, did Rita Repulsa go up?
I remember reading this, and when I hit that spot, I was like,
"What the crap is happening?"
Go Power Rangers!
I've got to send this, guys. I mean, you guys. I don't know where you were at. I know, Mark, you just finished it. What was the last day or so? So I know I was a little bit ahead of where you guys were, and I was like, wait till these motherfuckers get here, because they're not going to know what the fuck's going on. But
that is honestly why I didn't finish it until today.
I can't blame you.
I mean, this Redemption. I was going to say. Redemption actually, I think, starts off well, and then it just goes completely off the fucking rails again. And then you get to the end of the book, and I got to the end where I was like, I don't even care what's happening anymore. At this point, this could turn into like, I don't know, I'm so tired. I can't even make like a bad joke at this
point. we've laughed it all out, folks.
Yeah, I got all my sillies out. I'm running on empty. But my point is like, when I get to the end of a story and I just don't care how it ends, I just want it to end. That's not a good sign of writing.
That's right.
It's not a sign of good writing, rather. But to get back to the original Brenda thing,
Brenda,
Stella. There's a story to be told about sacrificing for the wrong reasons, losing it all, and having to earn back the moniker of hero. It's as Robert says, I'm kind of married to Winfrey, rather. Says that I'm kind of married to conventional storytelling. I'm married to what works. So, there's a reason why it's conventional. Yeah, it's safe, and yes, I'm certainly willing to accept alternatives to that. But again, alternative just for the sake of alternative, and this is where Robert and I do agree. As safe just for the sake of safe, or conventional just for the sake of conventional, isn't meaningful. You have to handle all of these things well. And this felt like experimental just for the sake of being experimental. In any case, that's one story, though. The story of this girl who'd been done wrong and seeks vengeance against Danny was its whole separate story and needed to be treated as such, not as a sidebar to this mystical event that's happening. And, and just as an aside, I want to deal with the Man of Steel issue in this book. What's the Man of Steel issue?
It always comes back to the Man of Steel.
The Man of Steel issue is all of this wanton destruction and no one dies. That's what people complained about with Man of Steel, among other things, other than sad Superman. And I got no sense of scale in what was happening. You have a fire god chopping buildings in half.
That's the truth.
And everyone's just kind of like, well, another day in New York City. Oh, look, a 6-foot turtle. Penn Station guy. That's a Ninja Turtles joke.
Yeah.
It's in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that whole movie was a joke.
Well, Jason Teasley's gonna be mad at you. He loves that movie.
The new one?
No, that's from the. Let's start this again.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember. Yeah. The taxi cab driver.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was not bad. Yeah, I love that movie.
Would it have been better if I'd called the taxi cab driver like Haystacks Calhoun or something?
No, because that's a wrestler. That's not a hobo.
You would have confused him more. That's not a hobo.
that's no hobo. That's a pro wrestler. Anywho's.
Star Wars jokes.
Hmm.
We put. Go ahead.
So the Brenda thing, to end this rather long point, the Brenda thing could have been its own story.
Yes.
They could
Agreed.
have set her up, and if her plan really was to, get him to fall in love with her, bring him to the point of of sort of emotional no return, just complete total devotion to her, and have her then have a crisis of conscience where she doesn't want to die a murderer, so she instead, she knows that this isn't real for her, but it's real for him, and she needs to make him suffer, but she can't consciously live with herself killing him, so she commits suicide in front of him. That would have been a powerful story, and one I would have been interested in reading.
Oh, can I? Okay, no, I'll stop. I'm going to go ahead and let you finish, but don't let me forget to come back to timeline. Okay.
Okay. So just to put a bow on that, even if you want to do the cheap ending of him saving the bullet from her, I don't know how I don't, even with the power of the Iron Fist, know how you fucking teleport between a gun, laid bare against your noodle. But whatevs.
He's the Iron Fist.
Even if somehow he can teleport in the matter of the gun and catch a bullet somehow and not shatter his hand again, there's still some dramatic tension to be had with, I hate you, Danny Rand. I hate you for not letting me kill myself and giving you your most mortal wound of all. That would have been a story worth telling. That would have been a story worth reading. Instead, you have a sudden everyone was kung fu fighting in the middle of a restaurant. And then she kind of tells him the story, but it's completely unearned. It's unemotional. I feel like there was more emotion in what I just told you than what you read in the comic.
It really was.
And I just came up with that off the cuff. This guy had how many months to work on this fucking story? And he was just like, and then the dogs came and then the cavalry came, but they were too late. It's just like he's just throwing things at the end of the book for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's one of the points I'm going to make to try and support what you're trying to say. How much time were we, how much time do you think that Danny and Brenda spent together?
Well, they fuck at the beginning of the first book.
Oh, God.
And then he goes through the telephone booth in the magic portal.
And let's not talk about, I think he gets it on with Sparrow as well. Shortly thereafter, after he gets his hands crushed, which that couldn't have been too pleasant. But I've never tried to do the hibbity dippy with broken hands. So.
I was gonna say, especially for Sparrow, Jesus.
But he ain't got no eyes. He ain't got no hands.
Oh my Lord.
I snorted again.
This is the point in the show. I'm disappointed in myself because this is the point in the show where I'm like, no, too far.
I'm going to start referring to you as Ronnie the Moral High Ground, Adam.
Only on podcasts, though. Messenger is a different story.
You're like substitute Winfrey.
That never happened.
You're like substitute Winfrey. I feel like, we're all making terrible jokes and, just going off the rails, and you're all weirdos. Sam the Eagle over here.
Yeah,
the Eagle.
We don't get. There's nothing earned to make me think, oh yeah, these guys are in love. No.
Yeah.
He goes. He does it with her the first night. Gets into it's big trouble in Little China, and then all of a sudden he falls through. he falls through the
Oh my lord!
he falls through the portal, and then he gets it on with his childhood friend, and he comes back, and there's nothing there. And then all of a sudden, they're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about letting you come on over. Come on over and hang out at Rand Tower. We've been having a good time."
I can
I
turn
love
into
you.
a building.
Yeah, after me and Megatron destroyed the city, why don't you come over and let's get some fucking Chinese food?
It is. That is why I think it's way out in left field. And the other thing is,
That's why.
there's
Nothing to do with him being a building.
that aside,
That
there's
sounds like a great book, by the way. The Day I Was a Building. I'd fucking read that. The girders. My bones were girders. I felt them all walking inside me. It was like having 1,000 voices in my.
no.
Go on.
There are
Deathbed, the bed that eats people. Sorry.
the three. There's. This is 12 issues. They did 3 or 4 stories. I think they could have. If they would have went linear with this thing, I probably would have liked it a lot better. They were just trying to stretch out or throw 3-4 stories into one story and try and get it all told so we could build up to that epic ending. Go ahead, Ronnie.
This was the Batman versus Superman of Marvel Comics.
You think so?
I'm serious because how many storylines did they throw into that movie?
Okay.
What, 12 or 13?
Yeah.
You could find a story.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There is no discernible story in this because there were too many points being made, and it's just like Ham Sandwich Anders said. Now that I've actually said it myself, I love it even more.
I wonder what else Ham Sandwich Anders has done because I feel like we should devote an entire source material to this person.
I want on that show.
I'm gonna look it up. Dude, I'm
but-
a moron. I almost looked up Ham Sanders Anders.
Ham Anders Anders.
I'm like Googling
Ham
Sandwich. I'm like, wait a minute.
Ham Anders sandwich. Man.
I just
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's the only point I had with that. There's no discernible story because there are two. It's like Ham Sandwich Anders went. I want this one. I want this one. I want this one. I want to write about this one, and I want to write about this one. So screw off. They're all mine.
Here's what he's written so far.
All right.
All right. This is his bibliography. Wonderlanders 1 and 2, artist only. Intrigue 1 and 2, pencils only. Before the Fantastic Four, Ben Grimm and Logan, artist, 3-issue miniseries. I want to find something he's written.
Yeah, I was going to say we're obviously finding where his chops have been chopped. We need to find something that, unless if this is his first story, I could maybe see that.
Oh no, I found the perfect one. Thundercat, Battle of the Planets, one shot, writer and artist, DC Wildstorm 2003.
Okay, so he's been in the game for a little while. 2003, we're talking that's 14.
Here's writer and artist 2001, Spider-Man's Tangled Web. Marvel Mangaverse, Spider-Man, writer and artist, one shot, 2002. Spider-Man Legend of the Spider-Clan, writer only, miniseries, 2002. X-Men Unlimited 37, writer, cover artist, and penciler, some interior pages, 2002. Let's see. I told you about the Thundercats one. I'm just looking for the ones where he's a writer. He's got, okay, that's really it. Oh, he's got films.
He's got films.
Yeah, baby. And boy, does he ever. Filmography. Films he has directed include Attitude, 2010. V is for Vagitus. The ABC's.
Come on.
Dude, I'm not even mispronouncing that. That's what it says here.
I'm not even mispronouncing that.
V is for Vagitus in the ABCs of Death, 2012. Cabin Fever Patient Zero, 2014, and The Hunted, which is upcoming.
The Hunted. That sounds familiar for some reason.
Cabin Fever Patient Zero. That says it all right there because the first Cabin Fever was decent.
Oh, ew, yuck.
But yeah, exactly. The others leave much to be desired.
Wow. Gentlemen, I think we're done.
I think we need to throw this this Thundercats Battle of the Planets thing on the schedule somewhere.
Yeah.
You are not kidding, my friend.
Here's you cannot schedule anything for 2019 until 2017 is over. Okay.
Okay,
So
but
just remember,
kidding, my friend.
all I want you to do is I just want you to try and remember to schedule it as soon as 2018 hits.
okay, but
Hopefully by
2017 isn't over yet, and there's still plenty of weeks on the schedule.
No.
What do you mean no?
We,
just be sad now.
no. Why would you? So you want to seriously? You seriously want to read this guy again?
I feel like you're in pain now, and now I'm sad.
I feel this is turning into Mark Radulich making Robert Winfrey watch shit films. And now he's got source material, and he's going to do the same thing to me. I'm going to make you read shit stuff by Ham Sandwich, Shit Sandwich, Andrews. And, no, there are better books.
I have something to say. Using technology given to them by their new allies, the Rygans, G-Force, is sent on a mission to drive Spectra off yet another planet under siege by the luminous one, Thundera. Unbeknownst to the team, Thundera's own defenders, the Thundercats, are trying to achieve the same aims with little success. Can two teams succeed where one could not?
Oh yeah, I'm sold. After reading this, I'm just ready to read something that he did with the Thundercats
In 2003.
Oh man, I mean, 14 years ago, this guy was writing stuff, and you could tell that he's definitely more comfortable being an artist, in my opinion. How they gave him, I don't know why they gave him this, but hey, you know what? We have come a long way here on source material tonight. Have we really?
Have we really?
An hour and a half. It's going on 2 something now. 2 hours of discussing 12 issues of Iron Fist, The Living Weapon by Carrie Andrews. I'm trying my best to be serious. Carrie. I'm going to call him Carrie. Oh, I'm going to start singing like Carrie. It's a Journey song, isn't it? Anyway, Carrie Andrews, we have made it this far. Am I? No,
yeah,
I don't think so. I'll go to YouTube and I'll prove you wrong. But anyway, let's get out of here. It's late. It's 11:22. We've made it through Iron Fist: The Living Weapon. Any other burning desires to talk about Ronnie Adams first? About Iron Fist: The Living Weapon 1 through 12.
It stinks.
All right.
No, it was one of those things where I've struggled to get through. Huh?
You know more about Iron Fist than you did going into it.
Ooh, do I?
Correct. You know the man can control a building. You know
do I want to know that? Is my question.
You know the man can. You know the man can. You know he. Yeah. Whatever. You've learned something, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I know that. Don't trust anybody named Ham Sandwich Anders.
We'll drive it into the ground.
Yeah.
Anything else?
It was a struggle to get through. It just wasn't good, and the fact that it's being talked about, the Thundercat. You look at the body of work that this writer has done. It's like they gave him one. Okay, here's your shot. Well, you done screwed the pooch on that one, so no more. And it boggles my mind that he got 12 issues of Iron Fist. And it was just like, it's kind of like, to take it back to wrestling. Well, this guy is doing nothing but, he's a curtain jerker. He's an opening act. So let's just throw him out there in the oddest gimmick possible. And that's kind of what they did with this. They were like, let's do something with somebody we haven't really had a major storyline with. Let's give him Iron Fist, somebody that not a lot of people know about. And boy, did he pull a Vince Russo on it, and just, just kind of ruined it, Well, and it was a mess. It was a big old dumpster fire of a comic book series.
They didn't give him the championship, which is good to see. And they didn't turn him loose on something big. You know, to give him Iron Fist and take a character that's kind of, you know, pretty much unknown. I mean, obviously he's got his own Netflix series coming up. That's things are going to change. But you know, back then, 4 years ago, Iron Fist was kind of under the radar, in my opinion. I don't think a whole lot of people were talking about him. So, yeah, at least we could say Marvel didn't, you know, shoot this guy to the top and give him the reins to somebody big and say, okay, here you go. But okay, anything else?
That's it.
Mark Radulich, anything else before we go into I do want to get your guys' just opinion on the show, the upcoming show. And then we're going to go to plugs. So we'll keep it short and sweet. But Mark Radulich, last 12 issues.
Thundercats Battle Planets 2003 one-shot Portal of Doom, written by Care Kyle Andrews, penciler Care Kyle Andrews, and inkers Care Kyle Andrews. Rating on comicbookdatabase.com is 6 out of 10 with 1 vote.
Oh, wow.
And that was himself. I could do better. I know I could do better.
Have y'all ever heard of The Room by Tommy Wiseau?
I have.
Oh, Comer talks about it very
I've
much.
never watched
This feels like he feels like he's the Tommy Wiseau or whatever you say his name of comic books.
Give this guy such a hard time. We've ruined his name. we shat all over his 12-issue epic arc that he done with Iron Fist.
I didn't say he was the Uwe Boll of
okay,
comic
you didn't
books.
go that far. Yeah.
He's one step above Uwe.
All right, Mark Radulich, what do you think? Netflix Iron Fist series, okay?
He's trying so hard to keep me on task.
We only got a few more minutes before you fall asleep. I'm sure of it. And I'm right there behind
I'm
you.
wide awake right now, man.
Oh, damn.
I could talk about Thundercats Battle for the Planet.
No, you don't need to. You do not need to.
What was the question, sir?
Iron Fist, the Netflix series.
Can I go to the bathroom? I don't have a pencil.
Asshole. Netflix. The series is coming up. It's coming up this week. We're recording. Well, when's it releasing? Next week? 17th?
All right, calm down. Take a breath there, Jesse. You're having a stroke.
Man.
I'm sorry. I'm Jesse to lose it.
I don't know where I'm at.
Hey, Jesse. Whistle Stop Jenkins has a drink of water.
Jesse right now reminds me of the Crank Yankers character. The bit is where they call like a NASA like astronomy station, and I want to say it's Adam Carolla who's playing the caller, and he's talking about how like he saw aliens, and slowly but surely he's basically explaining the story of how teenagers raped him in a cornfield.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, that went dark.
Man, I wasn't expecting that one.
But the best part of the episode, and the part that reminds me of Jesse right now, is how in earnest he's taking down this report, and he's writing all these notes, and when he suddenly realizes what this is said, get out of control.
He can't even get through it.
He can't.
I think I was just raped by teenagers in a cornfield. He just
Oh Lord, what is happening right now?
wait a minute. He just throws the clipboard in the air in resignation. I'm waiting for Jesse to throw his headphones.
You have no idea what's been thrown around already. Throwing all sorts of stuff. My gosh. Tell me about Netflix.
What I'd like to say right now is that Beauty and the Beast comes out this Friday, the 17th, and on the same day, Iron Fist drops on Netflix.
There we go. That's what I was looking for.
We will be having a TV party tonight on March 23rd to discuss the series. What are my expectations? I expect it to be better than this book we just read. I feel like just from reading some of the Rotten Tomatoes reviews that a lot of the criticism of the show comes from two different places. It's a little samey. You know, after 3 Netflix shows, four if you count the second season of Daredevil, that were very different from each other. I mean, if you're leaving out the misogynistic, He-Man, She-Woman hater club type folks who hated Jessica Jones because it was about a woman walking around in her underwear with PTSD.
Mm.
I'm looking in your direction, Gavin. If you leave out that segment of the audience that doesn't count, Jessica Jones was well received because it did deal with a lot of deep-seated, often ignored issues within the female community for those who have been abused, those who have, suffered in varying degrees in relationships or in the culture in general. You have Luke Cage, hashtag Black folks,
which trending,
which was a noir, stylized show that was modernized in the sense that this is in the wake of a long string of cop on black crime, and so you have sort of a postmodern superhero who can't be killed by a cop because his skin's iron. So it was a very much a metaphor, in terms of having a folk hero for hashtag Black folks, and the show worked. Unless you're one of those people who hates music, in which case the whole thing was like, a concert that just never ended. Winfrey. And you're wrong.
I totally identified with that criticism. My gosh.
Oh, you're all wrong and you hate blacks in music.
All right, then. Hey, Mark.
Yes?
You're wrong.
Oh, boy. I suppose I deserve that. And then you have Daredevil, which is kung fu fighting, but stylized violence and fighting, and you white kids like that sort of thing, and I get it. So that's fine. Some dude in his pajamas fighting in a hallway. Oh, everyone, let's jerk off. I get it. I get how everyone enjoyed that. My mother was eaten by wolves while I watched.
Hashtag trending.
You got to throw up a hashtag Black folks then. Come on.
That's your responsibility, sir. That's
sorry.
all you.
Okay. In any case, what I'm saying is you had four series already that set a precedent that, hey, these characters are not just going to be characters. Each show is going to be a noir or a representation of something very stylized, really give the audience something to bite into. And then Iron Fist comes along and it felt like more of the same. I don't think the people watching it, and I can't tell you because I haven't seen it yet, but just reading the criticism, I think a lot of it was, we've seen this 1,000 times before. We've already got the rich white guy who's a ninja. That's Arrow. So, and then I think the other side of it is critics who don't understand or know what the Iron Fist character is. It's like, oh, look, another ninja, another Asian character who was whitewashed. Like, they're still pissed that the Ancient One was a Celtic woman.
Yeah.
In Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of, why can't we have more non-white superheroes to reflect, billions of people across the world who aren't white? Which, that's a whole other topic, and I'm not going to get into it now. But that's where a lot of the criticism is coming from, which doesn't really tell you whether or not the show is any good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to end up liking the show because I'm not caught up in, how they cast characters. I don't give a fuck that, Mary Jane in the next Spider-Man movie, I think, is Hispanic. Who gives a shit? And if they had casted...
What? I'm kidding. I don't care. I don't care.
So, oh boy. If they had casted Iron Fist as a paraplegic, blind, fucking Mongolian, not Mongoloid, Mongolian.
Good night, folks.
I'm not being anything. I said Mongolian, from Mongolia. I honestly wouldn't have cared.
I like Mongolian beef.
I do. It's good stuff. My point is,
sorry, it is. I am more off the rails tonight than I usually am.
I have a great menu option just popped up on my feed here on Facebook. Payway. Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
All right, Mark your point. Sorry.
My point, if I still remember what it is, is I don't get caught up in the minutia of wherever you would file whitewashing and all of that. I just want to know if it's a good story, and they haven't let me down yet. It's 4 seasons of Netflix shows, and when you throw that up against the other shows I watch on Netflix, like Orange is the New Black, I haven't really come across a lot of Netflix content that I didn't like. So my expectations, if I had to gun to my head, narrow this down to 10 words or less, I think it'll be fine.
Okay. Ronnie Adams, what do you think, man? You excited? Are you worried? Okay.
No, not at all, because I think the whole whitewashing issue is ridiculous. These are obviously people that have no clue about the history of this character or the book or anything that are complaining about this. And it shows because, one, the series isn't even out yet. And two, most of the complaints that I've heard have been that exact complaint. It's not about the storyline. It's not about anything else. It's about, oh my gosh, Danny Rand is white, and this is supposed to be blah, blah, blah. And I'm excited for it because he's one of those characters that has not been given his due, in my opinion. And he definitely wasn't given his due in this book. But I think it would be interesting. I think it's going to be fun. I'm a big martial arts movie fan. So I think this is going to be another winner.
All right, good deal. Well, I for one am glad that I got this little bit of at least a little bit of a taste of what possibly awaits us there in the episodes. I don't think they're pulling anything directly from this series for those episodes, but regardless, I'm sure we're going to see elements of the origin, elements of his power set, elements of the mysticism and all that. So I kind of have a better idea of what I'm going to be getting into. So I look forward to the fact that we've had very successful and somewhat decent shows by the Marvel Netflix. And I don't think that, what the hell are you laughing at, Rattledge?
Honestly, I thought you were starting to say something else. I was like, I thought you were talking about this show, and you were just somewhat decent.
And things have clearly taken a turn for the worse here on Source Material. No, I'm glad.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm very, I'm kind of excited as well. I hope the critics are wrong, because I want to see a successful Marvel universe. I would hate to see this one go down as a really bad. I don't want to see my Marvel TV get taken away because of a bad season of something.
Are you out of your mind? Are you crazy?
Okay.
First of all, they're following this up this summer. Get ready, because we're gonna have to do a book on it. A 8-episode Defender series and Punisher later in the year. And then after Punisher, they're already working on, what the next slate of Netflix shows are going to be. And I think they're expanding how you're going to get to these shows. I don't remember what it said in the article exactly, but there was something along the lines of Marvel and Netflix are now trying to reimagine how they can expand their slate of shows and your availability to watch them so that they can get the shit out faster and more of it. So even if this trips and falls, there's so much stuff there's so many irons in the fire already.
Yeah.
That the next 6 shows would have to fail.
Here's the
for
thing.
them to stop.
There is a very real fear for me that we are going to get too much. We're going to have overexposure of all of these superhero films and TV shows to where not only is it going to result in many people not wanting to have anything to do with the superhero genre, or just being like, okay, I've seen that one already 1,000 times. I'm not going to give that, I'm not going to give that a chance. Just like you were saying with those critics. Well, we got Green Arrow. What do we need Iron Fist for? Well,
the critics are dumb, though.
Yeah, that's right. However, there are people out there that are just as dumb. And they're going to make a decision because they have, they've seen it before. And I think that at one point, of course, I've been saying this since probably the sequel to Avengers, that we're going to probably hit a bubble at some point where these types of films are going to go the way of the Western. I hate to say that. I don't think it. I think it may be a while. I'm sure Westerns. I mean, the Westerns were around for quite a while, but you get too much exposure to one type of a film. You need to make. You need to keep it varied, and as soon as one flops, people are going to start pointing to that one and saying, "Well, this one wasn't good," and then they're going to, just like when Marvel started. Marvel was at the top of the game with comics, and then something changed, and that was events like Civil War II, where they kept going to the well too many times, and then all of a sudden now DC's taking over when it comes to Marvel because. All of a sudden, people are jumping on the bandwagon. I don't want to say bandwagon, but they're looking at things with a more critical eye and watching how people and companies are redoing things over and over. It's not going to take much. I have that fear. Now, I know you. Yes, please.
Counterpoint to that.
Go ahead.
So there's a Cloak and Dagger series in production. There's a Runaway series. There's a Runaway series in production,
which makes me happy.
There's there's something else I think that they're already working on. They expanded from 1 to 2 to I think 4 Arrowverse shows. I don't know if and they've all been continued for next year, which makes Arrow on its 6th season, Supergirl on its 3rd, Flash on its 4th, and Legends on its 3rd. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I get what you're talking about with overexposure. There's a thing in wrestling about you don't want to kill the territory.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have to understand that traditional television is dying, and you have executives that are scrambling for content that they can easily throw together and grab eyeballs before the way of traditional television dies completely and everything goes to streaming and on the internet, which is pretty much where it's headed anyway. And they have discovered that the quickest way to do that is with comic book content because you've already got a built-in audience and name recognition. This isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope that's the case. That's
real quick. How many shows have gone from your basic, like your traditional viewing to streaming now?
I know personally.
No. I mean, like, how many shows have been made, that may have got canceled off of CBS or somewhere that have gone to Netflix?
Okay, I have that list.
Do you?
Yep.
Because I know. What's that one show I never watched with Michael Cera?
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development was one of them.
Never watched an episode.
Longmire was one, and I actually enjoyed Longmire. I don't know. I don't know what about it was, but I really got into it, and it was also good to see Lou Diamond Phillips working again.
Okay. So these are continuations. These shows have been picked up by Netflix for additional seasons after having aired previously on seasons on another network. Arrested Development, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, The Killing, Trailer Park Boys, DreamWorks Dragons, Longmire, Black Mirror, Lovesick, Mystery Science Theater 3000.
See, and it just tickles me pink that Mystery Science Theater 3000 is getting another go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're absolutely right. It's going the way. I mean, like, traditional TV is going the way of the dodo. I mean, it's going to be gone. DirecTV, which I'm a customer of, has already opened up their own streaming service, like Sling TV and all this. And what was the other streaming TV service? But Sling TV, DirecTV Now, they're all streaming, and you get to choose your package.
Okay.
So let me share something from my old boss that I used to work for, name of Robert Zakari. You might know him by his nom de plume, Rob Black of whatever the name of his horrible porno company was. But he was also the name.
I love Mark's porno stories. Go ahead.
Extreme Associates. He was also the founder of the short-lived and terrible XPW Wrestling.
Porn and
we were-
wrestling.
So he obviously made porn videos. He obviously made porn videos, and then he got into the wrestling, and he was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna film all this stuff, and we're gonna make videos." And we all kind of, and all of us kind of sat under the learning tree of Robert Zakari and learned, you know, the ancient wisdom of the pornographer, which went something like, "Stores gotta have shit on their shelves to sell." When we didn't think anyone would fucking buy an XPW tape, but he made a good point. Back when, you know, people actually went to the video store to buy a VHS tape, you know, for home viewing, stores needed, like, you can't just sell 50 million copies of The Empire Strikes Back. You got to have other shit to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And so they looked for videos like the ones Rob made. They wanted the XPW stuff, and it sold. I mean, I'm not saying it was like Avatar money, but people bought this shit. And he's absolutely right. You must have shit to sell. That's somewhat by law. You know, the reason why like HBO and Showtime have all this original content is because they have to. You have to have you have X amount of percentage of what you're airing has to be original content. But the other side of that is, if you look at like Netflix and Hulu, why sign up for these things just for the repeated streaming? They found that more people will sign up for Netflix for the original content, exclusive content. You can only watch Orange is the New Black in one place, and that's Netflix.
Yep.
You know, Daredevil, Punisher, The Defenders.
I don't use Netflix for movies anymore.
Mhm.
No, if I catch one on there that I've enjoyed in the past, I'll watch it again. But I'm not going to sit here and watch it over and over and over. I absolutely agree. I'll watch it for the new stuff that they're putting out, the original content. And I went against my better judgment, and I watched Adam Sandler's new movies on there. I mean, he got signed to like a 6-picture deal or something, which was ridiculous, and they weren't good. But
You had to watch them to confirm that.
they were new, and they were, it was something I couldn't watch anywhere else. So you might as well go ahead and.
They are hungry for content.
Yeah.
And when you have a company like Marvel, who has, I mean, how many years has Marvel been in existence? You know, in terms of character, like, okay, from the day
Stan Lee's like
Spider-Man
900 years old.
Okay, let's say Spider-Man is the first day of Marvel. Okay, when did Spider Amazing Stories, whatever the fuck, came out?
Wow.
1963, I think.
Okay, so 1963 to 2000, 2000 to 2017. You know, let's round up. We're like 60 years in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's 60 years of content. Not all of it good, but it's content.
It's passable.
That they're repackaging and refurbishing and giving to people to expound upon. You know how many failures they would have to be in a row before someone said, "Tell Marvel to shove it up its ass. We don't want it anymore."
I hear you. I really do. So we're going to get plenty of content. That's okay. So I guess I see what you're saying there. My fear may be unfounded that we may not have Iron Fists season 5 or whatever. But
well, that you may not get because fuck white people. But if they recast Iron Fist as as a Korean midget, sure.
I don't need to laugh at that.
That's a totally awesome Hulk joke, everybody.
Yeah.
There has to be. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I shall concede. It is a very good point that there just has to be something to put out there. So I don't know. Mark, I don't know what it was like growing up, or I remember what it was like growing up wanting all these shows. And now that we have them, That's just one of those things. Oh, I got what I want. I finally get a Punisher TV show that I really enjoy. I'm just always deathly afraid that something's going to take it away from me. So that's
your own
problem.
psychological stuff.
That's
man.
a personal problem.
Go get counseling.
I hear you. I do podcasts. That helps me, I guess, cope. No, it doesn't. It just causes more trouble. So we have plugs.
Do we?
We got to have plugs. It's
Are
11.
we going to talk about the article I brought up before, or should I just close that page?
Which article?
Finn Jones says Donald Trump has something to do with Iron Fist bad reviews.
Yes.
You want to know what this is?
We need to know what this is about.
Alrighty.
I want a detailed explanation here. Finn Jones. Who is this guy? This is the guy that's playing Iron Fist, right?
Yep. Old Mop Top. There's no denying it. 2017 has been a rocky year for international politics. Controversies galore have sprung from federal initiatives from dozens of countries. Last week, really? What the fuck? Let's get on with this. The political landscape is a dangerous one at the moment and has become a source of misery for many, both domestically and abroad. And now one actor has connected Trump's controversial role as president to the dwindling reviews for Marvel's Iron Fist.
He connected it. Oh, I can't wait. What evidence does he have?
During a recent interview with Radio Times, Jones took a moment to discuss Iron Fist and its critical reception. Over the last week, several reviews of the Netflix title have hit the internet, and their contents are less than encouraging. When asked about the reviews and people's hesitation to embrace Iron Fist's privileged background, here's what Jones had to say. I think the world has changed a lot since we were filming that television show. You filmed it last week. Calm the fuck down, Jones said.
The world has changed.
The world is not what it once was. We're living in the Logan era. I'm playing a white American billionaire superhero at a time when the white American billionaire archetype is public enemy number one, especially in the U.S. Yes, Arrow's having the same problem, you fucking idiot. We filmed the show way before Trump's election, and I think it's very interesting to see how the perception now that Trump's in power, how it makes it difficult to root for someone coming from white privilege. Are you fucking kidding me? When that archetype is public enemy number one. Oh, sad Caucasian.
Like there wasn't fucking billionaires before Trump took presidency. Yeah. Okay, I mean,
I'm gonna write a show called Everybody Hates Batman.
Right.
Let me see if the executives pick up what I'm putting down. The fuck out of here, Finn Jones.
Wow. Yeah, okay. I don't want to even give that guy any credit for. Look, if you feel that the world has changed that much since you've filmed the show, I don't know. Well, I guess your acting career's over, at least for the next 4 years.
Oh my God! You know, if it's one group of people I feel bad for in Hollywood, it's white people. They're so disadvantaged.
Oh, unbelievable.
Especially white men. Oh, God.
Ronnie, you got anything to add?
No.
All right. He's disgusted.
That whole.
Well, I for one am going to be watching the new Iron Fist show, even though this guy seems to
be a total douche.
Of course, I have I have my white privilege in order to sit down and watch in my home on my big screen TV.
Speaking of which, have you seen the Daily Show clip of the guy juggling during a police stop?
Yes.
What are you reaching for? My white privilege.
Oh my God.
It's great.
All right, we Ronnie's muted himself. He's throwing up right now. He's muted himself.
Please end this show with No Effects Kill All the White Man instead of Redemption Song.
Oh, okay.
Kill all the white man.
I'm actually stress eating.
You're stress eating?
Yeah, I went to get Sun Chips because I'm trying to just do anything I can to not say anything.
I hear you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Source Materials coverage of Iron Fist: The Living Weapon, and the
Has it?
no. The upcoming, our discussion, our pre-discussion, our of the Iron Fist Netflix series. Mark Radulich, let's go ahead. We'll hit plugs here, and then we'll let Ronnie get his plugs in, and then we'll get out of here. What do you got to say, man? What's upcoming on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network?
Is this going to be one show or two shows?
Yep.
That I don't know. I do not know. We'll leave that up in the air for right now. Does it have to be finalized right now? Because I have a feeling.
I've changed the calendar at least twice during this show.
God dang, Radulich, come on, man.
Plan on it for
I'm kidding.
being one, just in case the slot is needed for the 27th. If the 27th remains to be open, then I will easily make this into two.
So if you're hearing this show as it airs on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, last week, Robert Winfrey and I reviewed Kong Skull Island, the best movie of 2017
Oh
so
my
far.
gosh, that movie was just incredible.
How good is Kong?
Oh my gosh, I saw it again today.
Oh, you lucky stiff, you.
Well, a friend of mine said, "Hey, meet me at the movies at 1:30 or whatever, and we'll go see Kong." I was like, "Great, I've already seen it, but yeah, I'll go again, whatever." And he said, "Hey, your ticket's waiting for you. I've already paid for it." So not only did I get to see it
For free,
but I got to see it for free.
You are
Nice.
living the American dream, white man.
It is my white privilege that allowed me to do that.
This is horrible.
Indeed, and you earned your white privilege with all the suffering white people go through. Welcome to Snarky McSnarksters podcast.
It's so true. This is terrible.
The Metal Hammer of Doom reviewed Darkest Hour, the name of this stupid album, Godless Prophets, and The Migrant Flora.
Wow, that's
I don't understand the correlation of the two.
that's poetic though.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's death metal stuff. Sean Comer and I put Zach and Miri Make a Porno on trial.
Ugh.
This week on the Radulich in Broadcasting Network,
I'm Mark.
I'm Mark. Damn You Hollywood reviews the first billion-dollar movie of the year, Beauty and the Beast. And this controversy about white people revolves around gay.
Nothing was said. Nothing was said. I've read the article. Shut up, Ronnie.
Yeah, this controversy revolves around a gay character. Fucking Christ.
Nothing was said. Nobody cares.
Okay, what's the character's name that they're all getting all excited about?
Nobody cares.
All right, sorry, Ronnie.
No, I'm just
Nobody
saying.
cares, Radley.
Nope.
Go fuck yourself. All right.
Nobody cares about that character, and
Is it Gaston?
nobody said
No,
anything.
No, it's Gaston's gay. Yeah, it's Gaston's gay fuck buddy.
Oh, okay. So
What
Gaston
the
is gay.
hell?
This is Disney.
Yeah, the gayest company ever. That's why it makes so much money.
Gay.
Gay.
LaFoe, I think is
LaFoe,
his
right.
name. And no, he's Gaston's right hand man. I mean, he follows him around
I bet he
everywhere.
is.
Oh my God, Radulich, why do you do this to me?
Ronnie just broke out in song. Much like
That's how
Gaston does.
frustrated I am.
I'll bet you are.
Oh, no.
Mark.
I'm out of control. I'm bad. I'm gonna just move on.
That's hilarious.
1,000 pardons, Mr. Sir.
Mr. Sir.
Mr. Sir.
Damn You Hollywood reviews Beauty and the Beast, the first $1 billion of the year, and yet another win for Disney. On the Metal Hammer of Doom, we'll be reviewing Obituary, self-titled Obituary. And finally, taking it all back around again, coming full circle, TV Party Tonight, White Privilege, brought to you by Marvel and Netflix.
I want you to put that on there so so bad.
Iron Fist, white privilege.
AKA white privilege. White kung fu privilege. Got it.
Just call him White Fist.
I bring the power of the white fist that I got from the Catskills.
And we got White Fist teaming up with Black Panther. And then we just got all sorts of craziness going on. What else?
I am mentally, physically, and spiritually worn out from this show.
I just want to reimagine Heroes for Hire with completely racist names now. I want Heroes for Hire starring Luke Cage as Black Power and Danny Rand as White Fist.
White Fist.
Why not just go for it? Why not just say white power?
Heroes for Hire. I actually
Oh my gosh!
I actually just did the Heil Hitler.
Listen,
You wrong. You're very wrong.
You're very wrong.
We're all shut down. Nobody
Jesse-
wants anything to do with us anymore.
Jesse, remember when you asked me if you could just do a little podcast on my network about comics?
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
You're regretting that now, aren't you,
Oh
bud?
man, what was I getting into?
A whole heap of mess.
This is a representation of everything I feared. Right
I'm glad I could be a part of that, sir.
Witnessing
the fine mess you've gotten us into, Rattling.
witnessing the fall of Jesse Starcher. Oh,
That sounds like a porno.
ooh.
The corruption of Jesse
Everything sounds like that to you, Mark.
we gotta make it through these plugs. My wife I just woke my wife up laughing at your guys' dumbass. Come on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, who's breaking out in the song now, Mark?
Whatever. What are you, my daughter who hates when I sing and dance?
Sing and dance. Anything else, Mark Radulich, on the plug
You
front?
really need to ask me if there's anything else I have to say. Just cut me off. What's
All
wrong
right,
with
he's
you?
done. He's done.
What
Ronnie Adams.
What more damage? No, I'm not telling y'all anything because I don't want to be associated with this.
Welcome to Source Material, starring Jesse Starcher, Mark Radulich, and Redacted.
Redacted.
Whoa.
Come on, Ronnie. Give me something.
Yeah, hold on. I'm breathing.
Okay.
We Screaming Boy podcast. We just recently released our thoughts on the movie Logan, and we talked about some superheroes that we have lost in the year 2016 and are probably not getting back.
Like White Hulk.
Like
That's
Bruce
true.
Banner.
AKA White Hulk.
No, he will not be AKA.
Yes, I was in on that show. That was a good show. Had a lot of fun.
It was a good show. It really was.
Was there anything else? You got anything in the can or anything?
Nothing in the can because I accidentally just released that now as we were going through this show because for some reason it didn't release when I had it scheduled for earlier this week. Yeah, yesterday. So I was trying to figure out why, and in my figuring it out, I actually accidentally released it like 5 minutes ago. So there is that. We will be talking about revisiting kaiju movies here on the Screaming Boy podcast, or not here, but on Screaming Boy podcast. It's kaiju. If you're not familiar with the term, it is big monsters, basically. We're talking Godzilla, King Kong, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and Rodan, however you want to pronounce it. I've heard it both ways. So we'll be revisiting that because it seems that that big monsters are making a comeback now. So with when did Godzilla come out? That was in 2014.
Yeah, I want to say
Correct.
14.
And so we've got that. We've got the new Kong Skull Island, which once again we've said is just absolutely incredible. Like no joke, just a phenomenal movie. Can't I can't praise it enough. John C. Reilly was just absolutely brilliant in it. So yeah, we will be talking about that here in this week coming up.
Very cool. All right. As for myself, it was last week on, I don't know what day it is. I can tell you the episode previous to this, you can hear me and a couple other local podcasters talk at the brick and mortar comic shop, Asylum Comics. You can. Well,
can you hear them?
You listen closely. You'll be able to make it out. We talked at Asylum Comics down here in Marietta, Ohio. It was me and representing Source Material and Radulich and Broadcasting, or as they call it, the Radishes and Broccoli Network. Sorry, Mark.
I've been called worse.
And it was me. It was Remington Hitchcock of the Dueling Ogres podcast, and of course the guys from Kapow, consisting of Cliff, Jordan, Michael K. Easton, and the Grand Poobah himself, Seth. We all sat down. We were live in front of all the customers there at Asylum. They stayed open late. We had in attendance watching us talk was actually a writer for DC, guy by the name of James Patrick. Yeah, it was pretty neat. And we had a customer sat down and talked to us for a little while. They stepped up to the mic. So if you get a chance, go back, check that out, and give some love to my buddies over there on Dueling Ogres and the Kapow podcast. Other than that, just make sure to give the Radulich and Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like. We stay up on top of all the great podcasts that we have to offer. Well, Source Material also has a Facebook page. Go give that a like as well. And other than that, I think
we've got all that stuff too.
Yep.
Oh, hey, real quick. If we no, seriously, because I keep forgetting to do this, and I want to see if this improves at all. If you haven't signed up, if you haven't subscribed to the Radulich and Broadcasting Network through iTunes, and that is your podcasting app of choice, because who doesn't have an iPhone, right? Go ahead and do that. We're like every other podcast in this world. We're on iTunes too.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get all the content as it's available, without having to go this way and that way. Because I know getting on Blog Talk Radio might be a pain in the ass for people. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I listen to podcasts on my phone. So go ahead and subscribe. Just type in Radulich, Radulich, and boom, you're there. But if you're one of those weirdos who uses Stitcher or something else, we're there too.
Yeah, we don't alienate our people at all, our audience at all.
We are on Stitcher, we are on iTunes, and we are also on TuneIn Radio, which is kind of neat because you can find TuneIn Radio. The TuneIn Radio app is on Roku, and I bet you it's on Apple as well. And you can just type in Radulich and find all our Source Material or any one of our show's titles and actually find it on there and listen through your TV.
And they say we're hard to find, but honestly, you can type in any number of things and get any number of podcasts, but there's only one Radulich.
That's right.
Radulich. If you type that in, you will find me. It'll take you right to my home.
That's right. All right. You know how to find us now. The job is to go and like, subscribe, and give us some feedback. Give Mark some feedback, especially about tonight's episode. I mean,
at Mark Radulich on Twitter. Please bring it the fuck on.
All right. I'm Jesse Starcher. I'm Jesse Starcher. That's Mark Radulich. That's Ronnie Adams.
No, it's not.
It is. It's him.
Redacted.
That's redacting McHamster Pants.
We're ending this podcast.
Tommy Wilson, stop Jenkins.